going for the knife kill.
He's gonna get it.
Yes,
Yes.
he gets the knife kill.
Oh my God.
Gerald with the shield.
Wow.
Mello getting out. And Blasters on a killing spree.
Getting right into the action with the Doom Fist here. Making
One Doom punch.
What is up, everyone? Hello, thank you for joining. My name's Robert, and we're transfixed.
And I am Rory, aka Artom.
And I'm Aiden, aka Mnemonic.
And welcome everybody. Robert,
Match of
how
the
you
season.
feeling? Yeah, I was
tonight.
about to say, how you
NEU
feeling?
versus Ball State. If you're gonna watch any match, it's this one. Unless you're part of the rivalry and think Akron needs to lose, then you'll join us tomorrow. But we have 2 back-to-back days, so make sure not to miss out.
Yeah, so this is kind of Ball State's heroic comeback story in a certain sense. We are against NIU tonight here for the League of Legends match, and that was the team last year at the very end of the ESC that managed to just barely get by and steal that victory away from Ball State. And now Ball State, they're back. They're ready for a rematch, and they've been having a great ESC season. A little bit of a stumbling block over the break, which we'll get to momentarily, but other than that, they've been killing it, and they are more than ready to take these guys on again. And I don't know, stakes are high. There's a lot of personal, I wanted to say like personal drama. That doesn't feel like the right word. Personal investment, I guess, kind of caught up in this entire thing. And I'm very excited to see how it plays out.
Yeah, I haven't seen these two play. I think you were casting the last time these teams played.
It was myself and Camcom.
So hopefully it's not a Rory Caster curse. No, I'm excited to see these two teams play. I haven't seen either of the. I mean, I've seen Ball State play, but I haven't seen them play each other yet. And yeah, I would like to see us get a good revenge match in.
Yeah, absolutely. It's it's just those comeback stories that everyone is just so ready for.
Yeah,
like Rocky 5 right here, just with League of Legends and no boxing, and also no like geopolitical drama.
Hey, it depends on how deep in the league you get. There's some geopolitics going on.
That's true.
Yeah, we might hear some Piltover versus Zon, you know.
Some Demacia versus Noxus.
Yeah, there we go.
But in all honesty, the entire season has led up to these next 2 matches. If there's going to be any that you watch, I'm glad you're here watching these with us.
For sure. And speaking of, so we are going to be taking a look, I believe, we have 2 sort of match graphics coming up. The first one going to be, so we did have spring break coming up. And so that was just a lot of moving parts. So we're trying to reschedule a few matches. We managed to reschedule these matches at least so we could broadcast them. But the one that we didn't quite manage to get rescheduled, unfortunately, was against U Buffalo. I was quite excited to cast that. That was another one that would have been really fun. Unfortunately, just didn't happen. And actually, this is a bit of a plot twist. Maybe it's a bit better if we weren't here to watch it. But Ball State got 2-0'd by U Buffalo.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I don't know if you guys have gone back and watched the VODs or anything, but
I only saw these stats. First game was pretty rough for Ball State, and second game was a lot closer. Ball State definitely seemed to kind of shape up and try and respond to what U Buffalo was throwing at them. Just couldn't quite manage to secure that victory in time.
The unfortunate aspect of that, though, was that we had 3 subs in for our main team, which doesn't normally happen, but because it was during the break, a lot of our players couldn't reschedule or make time for it.
Yeah, so It will be sort of the mystery. What if? What happened? It'll be. We'll just never know. But all the main roster is here for tonight. All of the Ball State starting lineup, and the same goes for, of course, NIU. So we are just going to be having these two top teams just going at it.
Well, Rory, every great team needs tension. Let's be real.
Very,
You
very
know,
true.
T1 was versus all of the LPL. Maybe Ball State just versus everyone at this point.
Why not? Have Ball State versus everyone. But yeah, so we will be seeing some more of tonight's matches in addition to the stuff we just mentioned, hopefully popping up on screen momentarily. But personally, I've said this quite a few times over the course of the ESC, but I think this is the match for tonight.
Oh, yeah. I mean, for tonight, of course. These are, I think, are we number 3 right now, or are we number 2? We're within the top 3
Yeah, I
teams.
want to.
This is pretty much for number 1 spot. 'Cause
Essentially,
the
yeah.
reason we're number 3, and this is for guaranteed playoff spot. So top 2 team. Oh,
We
sorry, I'm mistaken. We're already guaranteed. I believe the top 2 teams skip to semifinals though. So we're
That
we're
should be how
trying.
it goes out, yeah.
So we're trying to play for this number 1, number 2 spot, and this game matters a lot. We got to win this one. I don't know if we have to win both matches to be in top 2 or just one of them, of tonight's and tomorrow's. But they're both very important matches. We want to skip to semis. We want to make it a little easier to get to those championships.
Of course. And then after the championships, of course, we move on. I forget what the division above the ESC.
I don't know what it's called. I
Wait,
can't.
what was it called? It's not NACE.
I
All
don't
right.
remember.
Yeah, all right. Well,
There's a division above us. Whoever wins that championship, or is it only the winner? Is it number 1?
should be, yeah.
Yeah, I think number 1. So whoever wins the championship of NACE right here will go on to the upper division against better teams.
Yeah, I believe it's NECC, but don't quote me on that because I have been catastrophically wrong on broadcast before, and it will happen again. So we actually do not have that tonight's match graphic, speaking of me being catastrophically wrong on broadcast before, so we're just going to segue into that and avoid me making a fool out of myself. But I mentioned the starting roster, so we are going to take a look, and it is just your familiar. We all know these guys. We've seen them play all ESC.
They're your favorites, let's put it that way.
Exactly, and that will be Silk Flannel or Inigo Montoya or Julian in that top lane. We have Boatlick in the jungle, Wombat Baby in the mid lane, Chumslog in the bot lane, and Quokka will probably come up with some new pronunciation during this broadcast as well in that support role. All these guys have been killing it all season. They've all had their moment in the spotlight to shine. I really, what else can we say?
Yeah, I don't know what else we can say other than let's find out who the spotlight should be on tonight, because it's different every game.
It really
It
is.
is different.
Yeah.
Honestly, with this being, how do I put this? Higher play, I guess. There are more stakes. I really hope to see the entire team shine tonight.
I honestly think it's super possible because these guys just play off each other so well. Whenever we say the spotlight is on somebody, that just kind of means that they're playing, that the team is sort of playing around them, right? Whenever Wombat Baby gets sort of that MVP play of the game type of deal, it's always right. Quokka's roaming up to help that mid lane sort of win early, or maybe Boatlick's getting off an early gank or something like that. So it really does just sort of boil down to all this team works so well together, and someone just generally tends to rise to the top.
Do you think we'll see some staple picks tonight, Rory? Like a Nidalee, a Tristana, Zeri?
I really do think if Silk Flannel especially gets
The
access,
Fiora.
yeah, if Silk Flannel gets access to that Fiora, especially given the current meta for top lane right now, really favoring some matchups that Fiora really likes. I know she's pretty good into Volibear, who's been seeing a lot of play top recently. We might see Silk Flannel on that Gwen as well. Wouldn't be entirely surprised. Just sort of these anti-bruiser, anti-tank type of top lane champions. I'm fully expecting to see either Talia or Ari especially coming out from Wombat Baby, who plays a really good Talia, but the iconic pick for him has absolutely been that Ari. So I expect to see those crop up in the draft a lot.
What do you expect to see in the jungle tonight, Aiden?
Ooh, jungle. So that's the only thing I'm not 100% confident in. I think we'll see some Lee Sin. I've seen them practicing Lee Sin quite a bit. Maybe some Nocturne. They played a few Nocturne games against Buffalo, or I think they played one, and I've seen them scrimming some Nocturne games. So we might see that. Otherwise, I think we'll just kind of see standard. Might see some Viego, maybe Zen Chao, Sejuani, just kind of the same old. Jungle, kind of a boring meta going on right now, I'd say. Now, what I will say is a little exciting. I see that they've been playing Callista a lot lately. I think we may see Callista as the ADC sometime today. And Callista, we haven't seen a Callista game yet this season. Very fun champion to watch. A very different ADC to all the other ADCs in the game. Also, I saw them cooking up something last night, or it might have been 2 days ago. I saw a Yone ADC and Senna support bot lane.
Oh, I saw that too. That was 2 days ago. That was during a scrimmage match. I don't think Ball State won that round.
Okay, so maybe
fair.
not pulling it out.
But it's creative. I wouldn't be shocked to see Senna paired up with something that's not a tank for once in the bot lane, which is always fun. I think you can run Senna with a lot of really wacky stuff down in the bot lane, not just tanks. I just think tanks happen to be a bit more of a safer option. So it would be fun to see.
Yeah, Senna Seraphine has fallen out of favor recently, hasn't it?
It has, but I still think it's pretty good.
Yeah, anything with Seraphine is very good. Rory, would you say that Callista is arguably the strongest level 1 champion?
I can't think of many champions that are better. Maybe, especially not in the bot lane. I think really in the bot lane, you're really strong level 1 champions that could maybe compete with Callista. You could get Senna, maybe Ashe, those maybe, but her mobility, her DPS is just so unmatched that I really feel like Callista just level 1 kind of says, we're going to take priority and there's nothing you can do about it.
Well, before we get ahead of ourselves, sorry, we should look at the other team's lineup.
Absolutely.
Of course.
All right, and we have Jisung in the top lane. We have PhD.
Smurfed.
Yeah. I just can't read. Smurfed in the jungle, Utopian Soldier in that mid lane, Bliss in the bot lane, and Ichen 4556. Probably just gonna call him Ichen in that support role. Now Northeastern has I don't know exactly where they sit in the ESC.
I think they're number 2 right now.
Yeah, I want to say 2. Yeah, because they're not 1, because that's I believe
Akron.
Akron is 1. Yeah, so really doing very, very well in the ESC, and of course this is the team that famously took a win against Ball State in the championship last season. So they have a really solid track record with the game. They've shown that they can go up against Ball State before, and again, there's not much more to be said. Both these teams are incredibly gifted, incredibly talented, and just incredibly good players.
Yeah, there's nothing. I don't know much about the team, so I can't really add to that at all.
Yeah, I don't know much about their preferred picks or anything. We don't have access to their scrim data like we do to Ball State.
Well, I know that Ball State's definitely banning Smolder tonight, getting that champ out of the way. I think our bot lane meta is going to be relatively the same outside of this Callista pick that you guys have been talking about. I think depending on how tonight goes, we might see Ball State playing around that bot side, picking Roman mid lane, a jungler that can help them dive, especially if they're playing something like Callista where those dives get off really well.
Yeah, Smolder I expect to see banned out by Ball State, truthfully, almost every game. That champion, assuming you're playing it optimally, and let's be real, these teams are going to be playing it optimally, you get access to your execute passive at around the 20-25 minute mark most of the time if things are going fairly even. And then you just kind of win team fights based off of that alone. It's horrifying. I hate it.
And depending on how jungle goes, we'll definitely see a little bit of Drake stacking through the spot lane pressure. And if jungle gets a lot of that gold, we might see, these grubs being contested, these heralds being contested. If we can get jungle really owning the map tonight with bot lane just pushing 2 whole champions out of the enemy team that are basically useless at that point, with this Callista pick being so deadly, Ball State really might be able to just tsunami over the enemy team here. It just depends on how that early game goes, because that's Callista's strongest point in the game.
Yeah, exactly. And that sort of is the danger in picking Callista. You have an incredibly strong early game, especially for a role that traditionally on paper struggles a bit early. But if you don't come out of that early game smashing your lane in terms of getting more resources, more kills, more map pressure, Kallista's really going to struggle to make an impact on the map.
Okay, so we have said a lot of words.
We have.
that don't mean a lot to people who don't know what League of Legends is.
Exactly.
So could one of you just give a quick summary of League of Legends for
It's
those
your
that don't
segment,
know?
Rory.
Exactly. Here we go. So for those at home who may not know, League of Legends is a game in which 5 players on each team will lock in a specific role, and they're dropped on a map called Summoner's Rift. Those roles are in the top lane, in the mid lane. You have 2 people in the bot lane, one called the ADC, and one called the support, the ADC doing lots of damage and the support being more supportive. And then you finally have a jungle position who is not going to be going to a lane and is going to be roaming in the jungle between these 3 lanes. Now, you have a ton of champions, and these champions are going to be going to either to the lane or the jungle and farming up minions or monster camps to get gold and experience. They're then going to reset and use that gold and experience to buy some items so they can come back on the map with better stats and use it to take objectives. And objectives will spawn in the jungle, and there's a variety of them. One of them is coming up on your screen right now, and that is the Void Grubs, and they make taking towers a lot easier. They add a little burn passive that helps you do more damage to towers. And the goal of the game is to use these objectives, use your stat advantages to destroy towers. And as you destroy towers, you're eventually going to get to the enemy base. And then once you get to the enemy base, you destroy the final inhibitors. And then you destroy the enemy nexus. And once the nexus explodes, then you have won your game of League of Legends. Now that sounds like a lot, and it definitely is, and there's a lot of strategies that people use. Some terms you might hear us use are AD, which is short for attack damage, AP, which is short for ability power, and that describes magic damage. So if you see a guy shooting a bow or swinging a sword, they're probably doing AD. If you see a lot of lasers or a lot of fancy lightning strikes or colors, that's probably AP. You might also hear us say Q, W, E, and R. That's because each of these champions have a spell that is by default bound to the keys on your keyboard, Q, W, E, and R. And so when we call out, oh, Yasuo used his Q right here, or Warwick is using his E right here, we're just calling out that spell being cast. R in particular will be an important call out to look for, because that is a champion's ultimate ability. And what you're seeing on your screen, that big bug, is the Rift Herald. That's another objective. You can take that, you can use it to smash into towers, you can use it to smash into other champions. It's a good way to get more map pressure. What you are seeing right here is the Baron, and taking the Baron will give your team a buff that makes your minion wave much stronger to take towers faster. And finally, for our last objective, we can take dragons, and dragons will give passive bonuses to your team, and those passive bonuses will eventually scale up into a dragon soul, which gives a very big bonus, and then after that, one more dragon will become available, and that's the Elder Dragon, which gives an execute. So yeah, hope you're all taking notes. We got a pop quiz.
Yeah, let's not forget to mention summoner spells.
And yes, of course. So
That is something we have neglected to talk about like ever.
Actually, yeah, so we'll use this. So summoner spells are 2 spells that are available to every single character. And most people are going to be taking something called Flash, and that's going to be, these are some items that you can buy that you're seeing on your screen right now, incidentally. But summoner spells are basically just different spells that offer different tools. So Flash is a really common one. It makes your character blink a short distance. Actually, if you saw that yellow spark on your screen, yeah, that is there. Flash being used right there. You can also use stuff like Ignite or Teleport. Teleport is going to be a really big one, as that allows you to move across the map. And those are available to every single champion, regardless of what position or kit you are playing. And finally, for the very last system explanation, something called runes, which are fairly important, but aren't going to be super, like, they aren't the most important thing in the world. But runes are going to be these little passive ability things that just add some flavor to how your champion wants to use their kit. So for example, you have one called Dark Harvest, where if someone is low, you're going to harvest a soul from them that deals additional damage. Or maybe you have First Strike, which deals more damage if you hit somebody before they hit you. Or maybe you have Guardian, which creates a big shield if you get jumped on. Stuff like that. We'll describe runes as we see them pop up. And again, if this all seems really confusing, that's totally fine. It's a very complicated game. It took us forever to even just start knowing what was going on.
Yeah, months.
Yeah. So we're all going to do our best to explain. I would say the most important things to keep in mind are AD is attack damage, AP is ability power, R is the ultimate, and the main goal of the game is to break towers and destroy the Nexus, and everything else should fall into place from there.
You'll also hear us say stuff like OBJs, which if you look in the top left or the top right of the screen, you're going to see timers. There will be little symbols beside them that tell you, like, for Drake, what specific Drake it is. Or for, Rift Herald, Voigrub's Baron, which version of those is spawning. So at different points in the game, you'll see different objectives. Another thing is that you'll hear us talk about, Varus took Halo Blades or Arcane Comet. He's going to go Lethality. Those really tell you what champions are going to go when it comes to their play style, things like that.
Yeah, so again, just sit back, come along for the ride. Nobody has truly managed to solve this game yet. It's very complicated. And just have a good time. We will do our best to guide you through this very exciting match. And speaking of, so we just described a ton of complicated stuff going on in the background, but Ball State has been using a lot of these systems to close out games pretty fast. I think the average time is sitting at around that 23 to 25 minute mark.
That's quick.
Which is very fast for a game of League of Legends, but especially against teams that are more up to par with the pressure that Ball State can dish out. Ball State is no stranger now to some of those longer games approaching the 30-minute mark. I think we had a close to 40-minute game one time, but I might be misremembering. So these two teams are very equal in power. What do you think? Is Ball State going to just come out with a really quick, a really aggressive style of play? Are they going to close this out quickly? Or are we looking at maybe another 30, 40-minute game?
So here's what I'm thinking. If we do lock Callista, I think we're going to see some very early fights. They're going to come out swinging and try to end the game quick. If we see anything else, I think these are two very high-level teams, two teams that know how to not make mistakes and know how to punish mistakes. So I think they're going to go longer. If we don't see some highly specific like early game champions, I think they're going to be longer games.
I mean, personally, I do want Ball State to win. Don't get me wrong. I'm wanting a 2-1. I want to see a really good series. But if we see a Callista pick and it actually works for what Ball State wants it to do, I don't see these games lasting longer than 25 minutes.
Yeah, I need to think about this because I've seen Northeastern in action, and I've had the privilege to see this Ball State roster with a couple changes, but it is still fairly similar to last season. So, I think we see 25. I think for game one, 25-minute game, and it's going to go either Ball State way or NIU's way. I think for game two, we are going to be seeing
a long one,
30-minute game, and then game three, either one team figures out what they're doing wrong and what they can do to exploit, or the other team just has solidified their strategy and
just
steamrolls through there. So I think first game, pretty short, and then I think the second game is really where we're going to see these teams try to adapt to each other's strategy, try to play a lot more safer, and just try and see what could be working and what's not working here.
Yeah. So we've been talking a lot about champion picks, but we haven't explained how are champions picked. So what happens before a game starts is there's going to be a draft, and the way it works is both teams will start out banning 3 champions each. There are over 160 champions in the game, so there's a lot to ban, a lot to think about. So both teams are going to ban 3 each. Then they're going to pick 3 each, right?
Blue side, it gets the first pick.
Yeah, blue side will get one.
two.
We'll get 1 pick, and then the other team gets 2 picks. And then the other team. Oh, we're going to draft right now. Actually,
all right,
I can show you it live.
You'll
That makes it
get
much
to see
easier.
how it plays out. And Ball State is on the blue side, and Maokai is getting banned straight away as Pike. Quokka,
Pike
that's
and
a
Maokai.
comfort pick for Quokka, a bit of a pocket pick. And then Maokai is a very solid ban right now. That
Yeah.
champion is absolutely disgusting in the support role.
I don't want to see a Maokai at all tonight. Keep that banned.
All right,
Volibear.
Volibear. So we were talking about this. Volibear has been seeing a bit of a renaissance in that top lane, and it looks like Ball State just does not want to deal with it. And Wombat Baby, known for that Orianna, getting it banned out right away as well.
Volibear's really strong right now with Unending Despair and Spirit Visage. That's precisely what they're trying to ban here. We might see a Smolder ban. Karma.
All right, so Smolder is left open unless we see NIU ban it here. The Karma ban is interesting because I believe those nerfs have gone through, and I think they did drop her in power just a bit. I still think she's solid, but to my eyes, she's never been as pick banned as she was previously, but I don't think it's a terrible ban. The Senna ban, yeah. Very Ball State's run a lot of Senna bot lanes. This hurts my heart because I've been playing a lot of Senna recently, and I can feel Robert getting angry at me right next to me as I said that.
Precisely what we're seeing with the draft and bans here is that they ban that Senna, so Ball State really has some pressure here to pick out that Smolder, so NEU just cannot pick it, you know?
Yeah,
But
I would not be surprised to see a Smolder. Okay, Talia.
Okay, Smolder is left open, which is interesting, but I like the Talia pick. I know Wombat Baby as a very solid, not very solid, an incredibly gifted, honestly, Talia player.
And a Varus, no Smolder.
Varus, okay.
This is to take away from Ball State, because Ball State is also no stranger to Varus Ashe. They just do not want this Ball State bot lane to have anything they're comfortable playing.
Well, what I expected to see here and what didn't happen was a Senna ban forcing a Smolder pickup.
Yeah, it's the same here.
But Ball State, as I've been told, does not play Smolder. So it was kind of weird on their
wow.
side.
And the Wombat Baby, the iconic Ari that Wombat Baby is known for, is going to be
Never
hovered.
mind.
Okay, I was like, that's going to be quite a statement. But Syndra getting locked in, I don't think we've seen Syndra at all this ESC, at least from any of Ball State's games.
This is the first time we've seen a Syndra.
How do you, I mean, I don't think she's terrible in the meta right now.
Yeah, I guess people just typically prefer like Orianna over her.
There it is,
There's
Callista.
the Callista.
All right, so there's that
Yeah.
Callista, baby. We are picking this early, this aggressive bot lane, hovering the Ashe a bit.
Callista.
I like the poke. The problem is Callista's ultimate, it's going to make engaging super awkward. You're
Yeah.
going to want to draft an engaged jungler in that case. So we are hovering quite a few. I don't think Renata Callista would be terrible, to be honest. But yeah, that is a pretty traditional Callista pick. Callista's ultimate can pull a partner to Callista and then like fire that character out to like act as an engagement. And Nautilus is basically, I am engaged CC as an entire character. So I do really like this pick quite a bit. And it is going to force... you know, you kind of have to respond. It's Callista Nautilus. Like, what do you draft in response to? Yeah, I was about to say, I want to see some counter CC. Alistar is fine. I was wondering if Renata might be picked, but that seems a bit risky into Callista.
What this draft is telling me is that NEU here really is playing to scale. We have a Syndra and a Varus. They take a little while to get online depending on the build Varus goes. But Syndra especially, you need to get your stacks. You need a lot of those through leveling, and leveling does take time. During that time, Callista is super strong.
So we're not going to see the Xin Chao or the Fiora.
Yeah, that's the classic. You got to save a spot for Silk Flannel's Fiora. Just cannot let that go through draft at your own peril. Xin Chao is going to be banned out here. So I think that's always just going to be a solid ban, right? He's super strong in the jungler and he can do a lot of things. And then once again, another top lane ban. Silk Flannel does play a pretty mean Aatrox. So they're just going to remove that from the pool as well. Who are you banning here if you're Ball State?
I just don't know their team enough. I don't know what they play. I guess you're
Cassante.
banning Cassante.
That's a fine ban.
That's fine.
Yeah, I honestly haven't seen any good Cassante players since his changes. So
Well, we
I'm
haven't
not sure
seen
how
a
good he is
Cassante
right now.
played, Aiden. He's been banned every game.
Yeah.
No, I mean just like even personally me playing. I haven't seen it. I don't know how Cassante is right now.
Solo Q,
Ooh,
he is,
I want to see the Kindred. Give me the Kindred.
Solo Q Cassante is struggling quite a bit, but in organized play, he is just a monster, so I don't hate that ban at all.
Come on, go the Kindred.
The Kindred would be interesting, but it does feel a bit adventurous into that team, so Vi seems a bit safer. I honestly don't hate Kindred with this draft, but I do like the engage you get from the Vi and Alistar.
I think they need to worry about being counterpicked on Kindred. Kindred has some hard matchups in the jungle.
Exactly, and Nidalee's being hovered.
Oh yeah,
I actually would really like a
no,
Viego.
Viego's just bad against this
Wukong is
comp,
really
though.
good about shutting down this Vi. I definitely understand why they're picking it here. You know that R does stop any dash that's coming out. Okay, wait.
Yes.
Oh, that's a Wukong top and an Ivern jungle, perhaps.
I like Ivern here.
But Vi is a very good pick here because you're leveling out the pressure that your bot lane and your mid lane will have.
I'm so curious. We're all silent.
They're trying to decide if Wukong is top or jungle right now. So he is jungle.
All right,
Gwen
so
here is actually really going to shut down this Alistar from being too tanky.
I love the Gwen pick here. Silk Flannel has been known for doing super well on Gwen as well. Not quite as iconic as the Fiora, but he's definitely. I said well as well. Yeah. We're gonna scroll right past that one.
Hey Rory.
Yeah.
What do we see in our nightmares? Gwen is immune.
Oh, that. And yeah, Gwen does have that lovely ability where she can. Oh.
Yone
top.
Gwen is immune. Gwen is immune. Gwen is immune. I don't know if I like Yone. Oh, that's a. Okay.
Oh yeah, I was questioning it for a second.
I know Varus top is a thing, so I was getting very concerned for half a second. It looks like they're just having fun swapping things around a bit. But what do we think of this draft, guys?
I like Ball States a lot more. They have a lot of response to the engage that NEU has here. But when it comes to poking out, that Varus, if he goes lethality, that Syndra, they're going to do a lot of damage. You need to make sure that this Talia and this Kalista don't take too much of that.
And I agree. I think Ball State has the better comp. I think Ball State has a much more proactive team comp. Syndra's just kind of there to do damage in the late game. She doesn't have super fast roams. She just is a safe mid laner that's going to chill out in mid lane and keep people from ganking her. And Yone, I mean, they have a late game scaling comp. That's about it. They don't have anything that can make a ton of early plays other than that Vi.
Yeah, I really don't know how I feel about the Yone top, to be honest. It kind of feels almost random. I guess you don't want to pick like a pure tank in the Gwen, because that's just going to be a rough lane matchup. But, I mean, at that point, they've picked Gwen. If you just get more frontline here from the side of NIU, I think that's going to be pretty solid overall. But I agree. I think Ball State definitely has a very concrete game plan with what they've got here. They do have some really nice roams in the form of that Talia. They have a crazy amount of lockdown. You've got the Kalista, you've got the Nautilus, you've got the Wukong, you've got Talia.
Yeah.
They are going to target somebody in a team fight, and that person is not going to move for 3 business days.
Now, one thing I'm wondering, are we going to be seeing a lethality Kalista, or are we going to be seeing a traditional Kalista? Because both are being played a lot right now.
I think we'll see an on-hit Kalista specifically for this Alistar and this Vi. They are quite tanky. I don't think we really need to worry about the Syndra or Varus or Yone being shut down when you have someone like Gwen that can put out so much damage.
Yeah, I'm inclined to think that you want to go on hit here. Especially I feel like Terminus as a 3rd item would do so nicely into what NIU has drafted here. So I would assume it'd just be on hit Kalista. You're going to use that early game bully potential and then just going to kind of grab those tankier 3rd and 4th items to just start piercing through the front line of NIU there.
And now that I look at it, is this Varus going to be able to kill anybody? Like, Gwen is immune, so no, you're not hitting anything. Gwen disables Varus from playing the game, kind of. Kalista's kind of hard to hit with those Qs. Wukong will just go in invis, knock you up, not let you do anything. Talia, you can maybe hit, but she plays pretty far back. She can move pretty quickly. I feel like Varus is going to struggle a lot this game.
I think a lot of what NIU has drafted here is really going to rely on, can this Vi and this Alistar get a good engage off? Can this Yone jump on their backline? And can Syndra just hit a well-timed ultimate?
The issue here for them, though, is that Ball State has a lot of reaction. With this Nautilus being able to lock someone down if they get too close to the backline, this Wukong with his ultimate, being able to shut anything down that Vi really does outside of her ultimate, which is a very large cooldown to just spend on something.
Yeah.
There's a lot of priority on that ability for this Vi. With Nautilus, the auto attack passive, rooting somebody, queuing R. There's a lot that Ball State really can do here to make it so that NEU has the hardest time engaging.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Nautilus has a passive where when he auto attacks a champion, they're rooted in place. His Q is a massive dredge line that he throws out that will hook somebody, and then his R is an ultimate that throws out a depth charge that knocks up the person it hits and anybody else in its path. If you're trying to dive a backline, Nautilus is almost the perfect champion to have to say, no, you're not allowed back here.
And it's so safe for him to do that. He gets away with it because of Kalista having her ultimate.
Exactly. Kalista can just, if Nautilus gets caught out, Kalista just says, all right, come here. This is a really, really strong bot lane from Ball State. And I think we're going to really be needing to see a lot of good jungle plays from this Vi. This Vi is really going to make or break the draft from the side of NAU, I think. But we're going to see how that all pans out because we are throwing to game right now. Ball State Cardinals versus the NAU Huskies.
Okay, now before the game gets too heated, I want to explain what you're seeing on your screen right now. I've had requests to explain some of that. So up top, very center middle, you will see 0 to 0. Those are the kills each team has. And then I'm gonna go outwards from the middle. I'll go left. Both sides are mirrored. It's just based on which team gets those points. To the left of that is the gold that each team has. Collectively, how much gold every character has. That, if you want to just guess who is winning the game, whoever has the most gold is probably winning the game. There's exceptions. We'll tell you if that's not the case at the time, but generally whoever has most gold is winning. Now to the left of that is the towers. Now for some reason it's saying NEU has 1 tower. Oh, there it goes. It's fixed. Those are how many towers each team has taken. Currently 0. To the left of that is the...
I'm going to pause you right there as we are already seeing this level 1 Kalista nonsense. The damage is crazy and just going to be taking it down that Alistar right away. I thought that was honestly going to be a full engage. They got a really nice angle there, but are going to back off just a bit. As you were saying.
Yeah, so to the left of those towers, you'll see, I believe that's grubs, how many grubs both teams have. You can get a maximum of 6. If you get 5, your team gets another nice bonus buff that we'll talk about if that happens later. But that's how many grubs that both team has. And to the left of that, I believe that's dragons, right?
Yeah, it should be dragons.
The very end, that is how many dragons both teams have. And you'll be able to see which kind of dragon they have after they take it later in the game. But yeah, those are what the little UI things mean. At the bottom, I'll go over that real fast too. To the left of the character portraits, that is how much CS or creep score they have, and that means how many minions they've killed.
Oh, wow, that's going to be a bit of a long-range engage. Ball State, you know, Boatlick kind of showing up saying, hi, I'm Wukong, I'm going to press Q, and then Koga says, I'm going to press Q as well. So again, you are seeing the early game power of this Kalista. NEU is, I've been saying NIU, my deepest apologies. NEU is just not allowed to sort of walk up to this at all.
And my last thing on your screen that you should focus on, to the left of that creep score, is just their kills, their deaths, and their assists. The 3 numbers, kills on the left, deaths in the middle, assists on the right. And that's all I'm going to go over.
And the items, you know.
Yeah, there's items to this. You can see the pictures of the items that they have. We may talk about that.
Yeah, well, we might talk about it, but don't you fret if items aren't something you guys aren't super familiar with. Early game has been pretty solidly, I think, especially in this bot lane, Ball State favor. They have a lot of priority down there. You can see Boatlick has just been allowed to sort of wander all over the map as this Wukong. And NEU, again, that scaling comp, they really just kind of want to hunker down and try not to get too far behind.
Yeah, and so far, you know, they're surviving lane. That's what NEU wants to do right here in this bot lane. The later this goes, the better chance they have.
Their bot lane is pushing out, and Wukong and Bai basically agreed to invade one another. This Wukong's going to get crabbed. They might look for something to happen here. Wukong is coming in for that gank.
And
he's going to make it.
Here comes the gank. Oh, and the hook just falls short. That dredge line is not going to quite connect. The thought was there, but unfortunately just barely out of range. Ball State won't be getting that. Boatlick is going to reset as Ball State bot lane goes back to business as usual, although Boca is going to get the root off. Yeah, you can't walk too far forward. Yeah, he's just dead. First blood going to Ball State. Kind of for free. The re-engage from the Vi is coming, but the flash is just going to be burned. And just going to walk away. I don't know. I feel like that was just a huge mistake on the part of NEU. You just can't walk that far forward into a Nautilus like that.
I was expecting to see the Alistar at least burn flash here, but he's saving it. That is necessary for his engage sometimes, but you know, with WQ, you come from a very far distance. I think burning the flash probably would have been safe there, especially before that ignite came out. But I think it was tied to the CC, so there's not much that Alistar really could have done.
Yeah.
And Vi using flash there is huge for Ball State. Vi's engage with flash makes her engage 100 times better than it normally is, and now she doesn't have that, so her ganks for the next couple minutes are not going to be very good.
Yeah, and you saw that NEU was walking up to that dragon, but Ball State is getting back onto the map, and just getting that dragon would just be far too risky. And actually, you're going to get pretty badly punished for that if you are the support from the side of NEU, as Chumpslog is just going to walk up and take out so much of your HP.
Kalista is so strong right now, being able to back and buy Berserker's Greaves, which gives the ADC movement speed and attack speed. On someone like Kalista, who stacks her spears to do incremental damage that is necessary for you to be strong in lane, you don't necessarily need to worry about items. Just getting that attack speed early on, as you saw with the Alistar, it does a lot more than like AD or anything like that can.
And if you look at Kalista,
The Yone engage is going to be coming out here. Chemtech Drake will be taken by Ball State. The Void Grubs will be taken by NEU in response, so NEU just saying, we can't contest this Drake, that bot lane has too much prio. We'll get the objective on the opposite side of the map, and you did see that Yone use his ultimate in an attempt to take down Silk Flannel there. Silk Flannel is pretty low HP, and actually top lane, if you look at your mini-map, we might be seeing a dive here. I don't know if Silk Flannel can do this. Gwen is immune, but Gwen does not have a lot of HP. Will it at least trade one kill?
Yone really committed ultimate there to make sure that this win cannot have a response to these Void Grubs with Wukong.
And she just got back to lane with teleport, so she can't TP back to lane. It's a little rough for Silk Flannel up the top lane.
Flash coming out for the Alistar here. We do see this Varus with lethal tempo building pickaxe that's probably going into board.
I would imagine, yeah, you're going for an on-hit Varus here.
Good, that is the first on-hit Varus we have seen. Everyone has gone lethality previously.
It's just rough laning phase-wise here for the NEU bot lane, although Koka did kind of go for a bit of an adventurous
going
play
down.
there.
Eken's dead.
Oh, yeah, and Utopian Soldier off screen, actually. I just saw that in the kill feed. Will get taken down, and then the Ball State bot lane. Quokka kind of walking up and seeing that engage, just trying to get out. But again, the damage from this Kalista, you just gotta respect it. And as long as you aren't focusing her, she can just sit there and throw out spear after spear after spear. That's exactly what happened. Ball State doing super well in this early game. Really the only problem for them is in this top lane, where the Yone has gotten quite far ahead.
As I expected before this game started, Ball State's really playing to stack these Drakes, stack this pressure onto the bot lane so they cannot walk up, cannot contest or anything like that.
Yeah,
we do see it working.
Yeah, honestly, I would 1000% take a fed Kalista over a fed Gwen. Fed meaning, of course, just a higher amount of resources.
Explain the bounty system while we're at it.
Yeah, no, Kalista does have a bounty. So if you look at the bottom of your screen there, that is a 150 gold bounty. That means if someone gets a kill on Kalista, that's a 300 gold. Kills are worth 300 gold, and then they'll get an additional 150 gold. And Jisung is just not going to be able to do much here, as those Void Grubs will be taken by Ball State. Kalista is absolutely the priority target here, though, if you are NEU, as you'll be getting that bonus 150 gold for killing her. And we are seeing Chumpslog having the highest amount of gold in the game, followed by Jisung and Utopian Soldier, both kind of sitting at those respective fairly even amounts. And once again, once you just get ahead on this Kalista, you can just kind of have your Nautilus hop on this bot lane on repeat. And Alistar is going to be taken down, but here comes the Vi with the engage. The ultimate is going to be dropped, but Quokka doing what a support does best, keeping the carry alive. And that Kalista ultimate saving Quokka as he just disappears from the screen. And Chumpslog on a killing spree. Quokka will go down, and Chumpslog quite unable to get the kill on the Bliss, as Bliss will just walk away. But that is plenty of kills for the Kalista right there. And as I was talking about all of that, the top lane is going quite well for NEU. That is a 2-0 Yone with a ton of farm and resources.
I think we're seeing why they picked Yone. This guy might just be maybe not a one trick, but he's clearly a Yone player. Might just be very confident in the champion, and clearly it's working out for them. We were quite wrong with how we thought Yone versus Gwen was going to go.
So to my defense, I actually didn't comment on the lane matchup. I just said I don't think it's good for the team comp. I didn't say a word about the matchup.
I feel like Yone is going to come out of lane and be a problem with these kills, though.
As you saw when Kalista was hitting tower, there was a visual effect where the tower was turning purple. That's the effect of Void Grubs. And what that means is that true damage, which is damage that cannot be blocked by armor or magic resist, is being dealt to that tower over time on top of the damage that Kalista was doing.
Yeah, and I believe Ball State has one of those grubs, and NEU has 2 of them.
Yes, they do have one grub cam. No. I think I see. There were a lot of fights going on, and there was a lot of stuff happening on the map at the same time. But speaking of, in that mid lane, Utopian Soul just going to go down, and it really feels like this Syndra pick is not accomplishing much at all. Just going to be absolutely destroyed by the Wukong engage there as the rest of Ball State looking to take control of this river. The Drake is up in about 13 seconds. And like Buckley said, we just have this constant prio in the bot lane. And it's just keep stacking those dragons seems to be the name of the game for Ball State. Soak Flannel, Gwen is immune! Gwen is immune from all of that nonsense that Yone will be putting out, finally getting a kill for his troubles in that top lane.
And so now, the opposite of what I said just 1 minute ago, if this Yone doesn't leave lane with the lead, I don't think he's going to be very useful. He needs to be beating this Gwen to be useful throughout this game. And he just threw it, God. He does still have the most XP in the game, as you saw on the left of your screen, but Gwen is catching up. Gwen's about even.
Yeah, so and gold advantage very much in Ball State's favor, as you can see as the game progresses. Yeah.
We see a gank maybe going off on mid, a tower dive. That is a Vi ult coming out. They do get the kill onto the Talia.
Yeah, that is going to be, unfortunately, off screen. Wombat Baby will get taken down. And while I don't think the Syndra pick is, I'm going to hold that thought, as the engage is going to be coming out onto the bot lane, and the Varus R is going to go so wide. Jumpslog on a rampage with the TP from this Yone is coming down. That's a big shutdown onto the Callista as well. Quokka just going to flash, just going to get up, but the Yone R catches him as Quokka is trying to get out. Incredible ult from Jisung, and Jisung, well, you wanted that Yone to leave lane and get an advantage. That is exactly what happened.
Yep, he do it. He knows that he needs to start doing something on the map to be useful, and he did it. That ult was crazy. The very tip of it hitting the Nautilus before he can pull himself out of the range.
And while it is less flashy, the Varus getting that shutdown from the Callista is absolutely massive. You are going to be coming back a bit more even than you were initially.
Most likely with Bork and Berserker's Crews.
Oh, there's a gank happening in the top lane. Vi appears to be jumping onto Gwen with Syndra and Yone rotating over. And Alistar.
Oh, Silk Flannel. Gwen is immune, but how long can she survive?
Run.
The rest of Ball State looking to re-engage, but the Gwen ultimate is actually going to zone off the rest of NEU, and the re-engage coming in from Quokka. That Nautilus CC is not something to be trifled with.
And do they have the damage to take Ekin down?
They absolutely do. Ekin will be taken down. Poor Ekin is just having a rough game at 5 deaths already.
Alistar's just kind of tough. He's a champion that can dive into a fight and then kind of struggles to leave that fight. And if he isn't tanky enough to survive damage and the other team's putting out a ton of damage, there's just not a lot he can do.
Guys, what you must understand is that Gwen is immune.
So the reason we keep saying that is you'll see Gwen put a little, fight breaking out, I'm going to shut up.
Yeah, Jumpslog is kind of on the ropes here. But the two, they don't want to jump on this Callista blind, but sometimes that's all you just need to do. Smurfed is dominating, but there will be a return kill. Gwen has TP'd down. Can she take care of this Vi? Well, the Vi doesn't want to stick around to find out. Smurf just going to be running away.
Yeah, so we didn't get to see it there. We might be able to see it here in a second. If Gwen puts a circle around herself, that is Gwen is immune. Gwen gets ulted by Vi. 2v3 going on. Ball State needs to get some damage. Gwen absolutely melting Vi, bringing it down to another 2v2 now as Wombat Baby joins the fight.
Yeah, the rotate from Wombat Baby. It is a 1-for-1. You are at least trading kills, and I mean, that was kind of peak Gwen is immune right there. Slug Flannel living just long enough to get a bit of a kill in return. So as you're explaining that ability.
Yeah, so Gwen will put a circle around herself, and that gives her bonus resistances, bonus armor, bonus magic resist, while she's in that circle. But also, any abilities thrown at her from outside of the circle will just pass right through. And that is, Gwen is immune. You just can't hit her with any ranged abilities. It's quite annoying to play against.
Callista sitting at 900 gold above this Varus. This pick is definitely working out. They are getting these objectives. We will see this Callista pick translate into pressure on the top side of the map now that Callista has transferred to mid, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it's a classic mid-game strat. You put your bot lane in the mid lane once the laning phase starts to die down a bit, just so you can keep your ADC in a safer place. And Callista very much appreciates that added safety, especially with all the mobility she has built into her kit. We do have Dragon coming up in about 1 minute, and Ball State has shown that they really just want to be stacking these Dragons, getting that soul. It is the Mountain Soul, so it's going to add a lot of tankiness to Ball State's team, something that Wukong and Gwen especially, are, and Nautilus too, to be frank, are going to appreciate a ton. Meanwhile, the Yone R is going to be popped, but Wombat Baby just has a ton of poke damage here as Talia. Flash coming out from Yone. Wombat Baby will flash in return. That was a bit of an adventurous flash there from Jisung. I'm not entirely sure Yone had cooldowns available to make that happen. In the meantime, Ball State in this bot side jungle don't have the numbers advantage, and Koka kind of getting caught out, is going to pop that Nautilus R, but the knockups are going to come on the Ball State. Koka will be taken down, slain by Bliss. But here comes the re-engage from Callista and the Gwen, and Inigo Montoya or Silk Flannel will be getting that double kill. And in the meantime, the back line from NEU will be obliterated. Frankly, you do lose the Callista in that fight, but
Wombat Baby killing that Yone.
and yeah, oh, I didn't even, I was looking at the abilities going off my screen.
Oh.
Off screen, Wombat Baby says, all right, Jisung, I will just take you down myself.
I figured as much would happen. Trading flashes as a Yone onto a Talia, that is not worth it all in this Yone's favor. You need that flash to have a lot of your kill pressure. Outside of the fact that you can press E and get like 120% movement speed, but that is different.
I'm detecting a note of bitterness here.
Just a smidgen.
Now, we did see Vi able to take down Chumslog in that last fight. But although I'd still say that was a very Ball State-sided fight, and I think they're going to get drag pressure here. Although
We'll see our first team fight coming out over this third Drake.
Yep.
Getting that soul point, or not the fourth, but that third Drake, being able to pressure the fourth one allows you to do a lot with the map.
Yeah, getting 4 dragons is when you get Dragon Soul, the big buff that we talked about earlier.
Oh, Quokka is going to get stunned by the Syndra there, but
Bone plating is down for Quokka.
And it is a Hex Dragon this game.
Yone in a dangerous spot.
yeah, is going to take the Hex Gate out. So I had it incorrectly called it Mountain Soul. My apologies. This is Hex Dragon, which does spawn these little gates over the map that you see the players running through. That is a really deep dive there by Silk Flannel. Is going to pop the Gwen circle. Gwen is immune and almost gets a kill in response, while the rest of Ball State is just taking the Hextech Dragon. That is actually incredible coming out from Ball State. The Varus R is going to connect on the Quokka, but the re-engage is coming out from Ball State. The knockup is going to be dropped onto that Syndra. Syndra will go down, and the rest of NEU is being absolutely routed. Yone going to be forced to R out. Vi is going to R in, try and get a kill back in response, but it's just not going to happen as Inigo Montoya, Silk Flannel, Julian, whatever you want to call him, is going to just be picking up that kill. And that is probably the absolute best case scenario for Ball State. Not only do they win the team fight, they get the Dragon, they lose absolutely nobody in the process, they burn a lot of important ultimates from the side of NEU. That was just picturesque from the side of Ball State.
This bot lane composition is really working out the way that we thought it would. This Callista has so much pressure. This Gwen, now that she was able to get that double kill bot lane and trade her life, that put her so far ahead of this Yone that there's not a lot that they can do to stop her, especially because of the fact that Gwen has her W. Vi could easily queue into there and do nothing.
Exactly. I honestly, I thought I was raising my eyebrows a bit when I saw Silk Flannel just take the Hex Gate into the entire side of NEU, but not for nothing is he known as just a really solid Gwen player. Just dropped that W, and then the rest of Ball State just took the objective while NEU was wasting time. It was very well done. A masterful stall from Ball State. Teleport up top here as that Gwen will be coming in once again, and will just delete this Vi from the game. There is a kill taken back on the Wombat Baby.
Oh my gosh!
And
he goes back in!
Wait, triple kill Silk Flannel! Oh, I was so ready for that. Boatlick is now at a severe numbers disadvantage as the Gwen does pick up the double kill. Boatlick is just going to need to get out.
Flash.
But this is Wukong. You do have a lot of escape options, and here comes the roam coming up from Quokka. Ball State really wants to take this. As you can see, we have that Callista following up as well. You do burn that ability. You burn the Syndra, disengage, and it looks like Ball State, they're not going to go for the tower dive. But wow.
Look at this. After that fight, Gwen has the most gold in the lobby, over 1,000 gold above second place. after that fight, we're going to see Silk Flannel just, if you thought he was melting people already, it's going to get worse.
And here comes the engage. Ball State kind of caught on the back foot here. That's a very low health Wukong, and Quokka is going to be saved by the Kalista ultimate, pulling him over the wall, but the Vi ult is going to follow Wukong over the Baron wall, and we see the ultimate from Talia coming in as the wall comes out. Bowlick will just not die, actually, and the shutdown will finally come onto the Wukong, but Ball State will trade the kill back as Ichan goes down, and the rest of NEU is just so low. Silk Flannel gonna take another kill onto that Vi. Silk Flannel double kill. Silk Flannel is just unstoppable. You cannot stop the onslaught that is Silk Flannel's Gwen. And he's still looking for more. You can see him hiding out in that jungle, and that's just a free Baron for Ball State.
It's especially free even with those junglers dead, because the fact that Kalista can press E and do 1,000 or so, 1,300 around there damage in an instant. There's no smite that can really contest with that, and NEU does not have burst set up to compete.
Yes, smite for those who don't know.
G-Sung's going in, looking to try to stop their backs at the very least.
Yeah, it's just gonna reset. That would be a bold choice. And smite, for those who don't know, is a summoner spell that junglers take. It deals a set amount of true damage to monster camps, which is why all junglers take it. And once you max it out, it sits at about 1,300 damage.
Yep, just a tool to help junglers clear their jungle just a little faster.
This Gwen. This is insane.
Yeah, Silk Flannel had a really rough laning phase, and then suddenly he's easily the scariest thing in this lobby.
I think it was the TP bot that really did it in. Getting that Vi kill, getting that, was it Alistar, I believe?
I believe it was
Getting that double
Alistar.
kill really helped Gwen out because Yone could not really respond.
Yeah, there's nothing that Jisung could do. You need to get ahead of Gwen to be relevant, and now Jisung, unfortunately, just isn't. Gwen scales a lot better, just has better team fighting than this Yone. Not a ton you can do, and as you can see, Ball State just sort of walking into NEU's jungle. Quokka is going on a really long flank here, as is Wombat Baby. They're going to collapse on this bush. Wombat Baby going to get engaged on, forced to flash out, but that Talia E is going to be doing a lot. That's a huge Yone R. Jisung will take down Wombat Baby, but we have the R from Wukong as well, stopping things, and that is a lot of spears in one individual. Kalista will just simply take down Alistar. Double kill for Boatlick as well. Make that a triple. And Ball State, I think it's pretty safe to say Ball State is absolutely running away with this game.
Yeah, I was about to... I'll go ahead and throw some shade on Wombat Baby right there. Went in a little early. Probably should have let the Nautilus check that bush instead of him. But they're so far ahead right now, it just doesn't matter. Look, what are they?
Ace! Why not?
Yeah, they just ace him, and they're 8,000 gold up. They honestly might be able to end the game right here.
As long as this Gwen and this Kalista are alive, there's not a lot that NEU can do in response. Vi can commit her ult, but she can only commit it to one person. If that's the Gwen, you know, you really need your team to be there with you. The Gwen can press W and get a lot of resistances.
Gwen
plus
can just
immunity.
delete this Alistar from the game.
She's going to 1v3.
Maybe. You
1v4?
are pretty low on mana. Does pop the ultimate. Yeah, it's just going to have to disengage, unfortunately. I was so ready for Silk Flannel to just say, we ball, and go for it.
I mean, she does have blue buff.
While Silk Flannel was mid lane, Wukong was able to get the soul point. That really sets Ball State so far ahead of NEU here that I will say this. I will be daring. There is nothing really NEU can do to recover this game.
I'm in agreement, honestly. That Hextech soul is easily one of the most impactful souls in the game.
That slow will be immaculate in making this Gwen extra powerful. Being able to keep the enemy with her. You're trapped in here with me. That's the entire motto here.
That is kind of how it goes here.
You CC me? That's me CCing
yeah,
you.
Exactly. Hextech Soul, for those who do not know, does offer a slow on your attacks, and we'll get to see that in action as Ball State's going to go for the engage. And that is a massive Yone ult, but Bliss will go down, and there's just no damage from this Yone. Wombat Baby will go down. At least you get a kill back in response if you're NEU. But Chumpslog is on a rampage. Gwen and Kalista are just absolutely throwing out so much damage. Double kill onto the Alistar, and Ball State will just clean up here. Triple kill for the Kalista. That's an ace. That's another one for Ball State here.
And that is most likely game.
And what did you call it? Did you say 25 minutes was going to be the first game?
Yeah.
Yeah, we are just hitting that 25
I told you
mark.
this Kalista was going to work.
Yeah, you might. If they might end it before 26, so it's on the 25.
And the mid inhibitor is down, so now Ball State is going to get an empowered minion wave in that mid lane for the next 5 minutes.
Oh, they
but
just melt the
they're
towers.
just going to end right now. They're not even going to bother waiting for those super minions.
No! They're backing
Oh, prediction's a bit off. I honestly think they could take this team fight, but they're playing it safe here, and I respect it.
It is still correct, though. This game is going to end pretty early in the Callista game, as we suspected.
Yeah, Chumslog has been going absolutely crazy on the Callista, and honestly, this Gwen, too, is being incredibly impactful. I really feel like those are the two by far the best picks that Ball State has run with. I was a huge fan of the Gwen in the draft, and I like the Callista in the draft, so the fact that both of these are performing so well is just pretty nice. We do have that Elder Dragon spawning in 3 minutes and 35 seconds, and that is really the only realistic way I think NEU gets back into this game. But Ball State is just winning all these fights. That's such a long time to try and get back, like you're sort of desperate. Can we make this happen? Gwen is immune as the rest of NEU is going to be engaging onto Silk Flannel, but the rest of Ball State is here to rotate as the TP is coming in. Oh, like in Wamba, baby. That is a big shutdown, but it goes to the worst possible person you want for that shutdown. Your support getting that much gold is not going to put you back in this game, and Ball State is just going to clean up the rest of this fight. Yeah, your Gwen goes down, but you do have the rest of the Cardinals here, although Boatlick is kind of caught out. Quokka, not a lot you can do. Chumslog is going to try and clean up here. This might actually not go Ball State's way. It is a bit of a knife's edge. The ult is going to be popped by the Callista. Chumslog is godlike, is at least going to pick up a kill there. But Quokka will go down, and Chumslog might go down as well. Will pick up the double kill.
He's got this.
No,
He's got this.
no, Callista.
he's got this. It's
Callista is going for it. Gets the triple.
Jumps over the wall.
Gets the quadra. And Chumslog says, nah, I would just win. And gets the ace essentially all by himself there. Absolute, my jaw's on the floor. That's peak Callista gameplay right there.
Some questionable plays from the side of Ball State right there, but Chumslog making up for all of it in that intense, essentially 1v4 fight.
Something important to note is that the reason why Callista was able to do that is because of this item that she has, Jockshow the Protein.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Protein, whatever.
That is a tank item
Yep.
on an ADC.
Nah,
gives
Callista typically does spec in the Jock
after
Show as third or fourth.
Rage
item.
Blade.
Yeah.
It gives you 30 MR, 30 match resist, and health, but over the course of the fight, those stats increase. Not health. MR and armor increases. That is the passive of Jockshow.
She also has that other new item that I always forget the name of.
She is building Terminus right now. She's actually built Terminus
And
right
she
now.
has a tank potion.
And she, grabs the
mixture
tank
of
potion.
iron.
So this Callista is very tanky while still putting out absurd amounts of damage. And Callista is a reset champion, meaning that if she gets a kill, I believe, is it her E that pops?
It's her E.
Whenever she uses her E, which pops all of these spears that she leaves in the enemy, if that gets a kill, she can do it again. So that's why she was able to kill 4 people back to back.
Silk Flannel. Gwen is immune, but that's just a lot of people jumping on.
Silk Flannel has the Zanya.
Yeah, he's going to pop the Zanya's Hourglass that will put him in stasis and let him get out, as well as the Ghost Summoner spell, giving him that extra movement speed. But while we were discussing the build for the Callista, Ball State did, in fact, take Baron Nashor, so they are going to have these empowered minion waves. And Elder Dragon is up in about 1 minute, but Ball State winning these 2 team fights back-to-back is just going to give them so many resources that there's really no realistic way NEU can contest this Elder Dragon. Ball State absolutely going to run away with this game now.
By committing this ultimate right before Elder Dragon is massive, that relieves a lot of pressure on Ball State's side for both of their carries to really just impact the game.
The flash coming out from Quokka. Oh, wow. That is just so unfortunate.
That might be
Utopian
good.
Soldier going to go down. I mean, what else can you say? Syndra was just too far forward, didn't have any vision, and will go down. And Ball State might not even need the Elder Dragon, and the rest of NEU is in that mid lane, actually. They're not even here to defend their base. Ball State is just going to be looking to end the game right here, right now. NEU caught on the back foot. They're scrambling, trying to make anything happen, but Gwen is immune. The Nexus is exposed, and Gwen just deletes these structures. And just like that, Ball State wins.
And the Callista killing Bliss while he is in his spawn healing up. She's just doing that much damage.
Wow.
You know what? You know what I want to say? I was right. I was right.
Yeah, Ball State, they had maybe a couple rough plays there, and laning phase top lane in particular did not seem like it was going well, but they they just played to their strengths beautifully. Like
Oh, yeah.
the synergy, their team fighting, they were just focused on these dragons, got their Callista so far ahead, and then were able to just snowball that lead all across the map. I mean, that was just honestly peak Ball State.
Yeah, every mistake that was made, they more than made up for immediately after. Every time I was like, oh, Ball State just messed up. They might start losing. 10 seconds later, they're winning again, and the mistake didn't matter.
You know what I think? I think we're going to see Callista first ban this next draft.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
And here we have those end of game stats. Look at that gold. And yeah, that's just a very, very tanky Callista.
Yeah, look at the gold on that Callista, though. 6.5, or about 6,000 gold up on her counterpart, the Varus. Just way too far ahead for anyone to possibly deal with.
Yeah, and if you look at the damage stats, the Callista certainly no slouch in that DPS, but
Gwen.
yeah, that Gwen is immune, and Gwen will also be dishing out about 34,000 damage or so.
I mean, the Gwen consistently kept saying, "Fight me, I dare you."
That is kind of how
Taking
it
on 1v5s, 1v4s like it was nothing.
went. It was just great. It was great gameplay all around, and then especially I feel like this the Vi, the Syndra, and the Alistar especially. Like you can look at the deaths. KD doesn't tell the full story, especially for roles like jungle and support. But 10 deaths is a lot of money into your enemy's pocket.
Yeah, so typically, we want Ball State to win, but what would you say Northeastern needs to do to make this to turn this around, do a little better next game?
Honestly, I think I'd like to see. I don't think the Yone was doing too much. I do not think that's. I think the Syndra. I was looking at the scoreboard every so often. The Syndra was usually had about I think an 8 to 10 CS lead, so she was farming a bit more minions, but that's not super significant. We just seemed to be bullying Wombat Baby out of lane, but was always just getting caught out by these jungle ganks or these roams from Quokka. So I really want to see NEU playing the map a lot more. I feel like they drafted to kind of, we're going to win lane and then use that to transition to a better mid game, but it felt like they weren't able to use the advantageous position they had in the lanes that were winning to spread out over the map.
I think NEU really needs to change their ideology with this drafting here. They're really playing to make sure that they can scale to this late game, while Ball State is picking comps that just do not allow them to get to that point in the game. I really think it would be in NEU's best interest to draft to match. This Gwen had a lot of map impact as a top laner. This Talia, even though Syndra was like 10 CS up, that's not a lot for someone that was consistently roaming. I think NEU should really be drafting here to match the pressure that they're being forced into by Ball State. So they play an early game comp bot lane, play something that negates that. They play a roamer mid lane, play someone like Ahri that can clear the wave. If you don't ban Ahri and don't give Wombat Baby Ahri, you first pick Ahri. Play something like that can clear that wave instantly. I think level 4. Really, with minion DMAT, I think it's level 4.
I believe it is level 4 that
level
can delete
5.
the wave. Yeah, somewhere around that.
Something like that can match or force Wombat Baby to stay in lane.
Yeah, I would agree. I think they need to play way more proactively. They cannot just try to win lane. That's just not enough. Especially, I would like to see, we've mentioned the Syndra, I would see a very different pick. I don't think Syndra's really doing anything other than providing damage if they make it late. And I'd like to see a different support. I don't think Alistar was up to snuff with what's going on. Alistar, just, if you're at this level, you can't really show off your skill with Alistar all that much. He doesn't have a whole lot of mechanics going on. He's really simple. And he gets melted if he can't get on top of that Callista. I'd like to see a very different support that can put some more pressure on the map, maybe show off his more individual skill a little better.
I think seeing someone like Melio would really help here, especially with this Nautilus. Nautilus Q's in. If he hits your 80 carry, you throw, what's it called? What's the ability name, Rory?
Ultra Mega Fire Kick is his disengage ability.
you can immediately make this Nautilus, knocked back. His engage is basically neutralized pre-level 6.
I actually, I know enchanters traditionally kind of struggle into those engage supports, but I wouldn't hate Emilio pick at all. What I truthfully do want to see coming out from NEU is a lot more emphasis on utility, because Yone is kind of just damage. Syndra, kind of just damage. And Alistar, I agree, was not the right choice into that. But so if you want to draft another engaged support, I think as long as it's something that can survive in that lane, that's fine. So maybe go Blitzcrank, right? That's always solid. Maybe if Maokai's left, he's not going to be left open. Let's pretend he is. Let's pretend that Maokai's left open. You can go the Maokai. And then, or maybe something like Janna or Milio that just has very reliable disengage for when if Ball State tries this Kalista Nautilus thing again.
Yeah, I fully agree. And I'm trying to think. You said Kalista's going to be first ban. I fully agree with you. What do we think we're going to see from Ball State? You think we're probably, I can't think of any other matchups that are that dominant early.
If Senna goes through, I definitely think we'll see a Senna on a response. You know, that first 3 picks, assuming they pick blue side, NEU here. Ball State will be able to respond with the Senna Tom Kinch pick if neither of those get banned. That is really a staple of Chumsog and Quokka, you know. That is a staple of this bot lane, and it's worked every single time they've done it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked to see Ash Varus or Senatom Kench. Those are really the bot lane that Ball State has been running quite a lot, and it's been working for them really well. Drafting-wise from Ball State, honestly, it feels like both these teams are playing really heavily around the Ball State bot side, whether that's trying to shut down the Ball State bot side or giving it its greatest pieces to sort of make things happen.
NEU really needs to solidify a way that they can contest these objectives. That was they bled so hard when it came to OBJs, losing every Drake, not contesting a single one. And when they had the opportunity to, they just allowed this Kalista and this Wukong to really just sit there. Kalista put her spears on the objective. Wukong get his armor reduction off.
Yeah.
Things like that. NEU really needs to have a way to respond to these. They cannot allow Ball State to get this free gold, these free stats. That's just not possible. How do you think they could do that, Aiden, with this jungle pick?
With this jungle pick, well, so I actually like the Vi. I think they might stick to the Vi.
We will be heading to draft.
We'll jump to draft and see what they end up picking.
So we'll see what's coming out. Ball State on the red side this time, so they do not have first pick. And the Pike ban, once again, immediately going through. T1 Quokka, very well known for that Pike. It's just going to be banned out. And Karma ban, once again, coming from the side of Ball State.
I'm going to think Kalista Senna is the next 2 bans from NEU.
Well, okay, let's finish the thought. What jungle change do you want to see NEU making?
I don't know they need a jungle change. I think Vi is okay. They could play something similar to Vi that has engage like that. But
do you think it's a lane issue?
I think it's a lane issue. I think they need a support that Vi can help. That can help support Vi for the ganks better. That's not gonna die 3 times in lane.
Wukong ban going out, allowing NEU to really emphasize, hey, we're gonna pick Vi. You need to respond. Let's see you pick Vi. Something like that.
And the Maokai ban, once again, coming out from Ball State. So very standard bans from Ball State, and Xinjiao ban coming out.
They really wanted this Vi to get through.
They're really saying, we're picking Vi. How are you going to respond?
I think we respond with Poppy. I think we just let them pick Vi and we go Poppy.
Yeah, okay, that could work.
Bolik has actually played a really nasty Poppy before, too, so that's not totally out of the question. Senna ban coming out from Ball State.
That makes sense.
It is interesting.
They don't want to give that first
pick.
pick.
Are they going to first pick Kalista? That's the question.
Yeah, so Kalista is left open. Smolder being hovered.
I mean, are they going to give us just lock Kalista Ball State? Like,
I don't think Kalista would be smart on NEU's side here because of the disconnect that was between that AD carry and the support.
Yeah. It did feel like there were some crossed wires. So Smolder is going to be locked in.
Aphelios
being hovered, and it's probably not. I can hope.
My favorite champion. No.
Ooh, I'd like an Nyla.
Nyla does work here.
I expect a Kalista, though.
I'd be happy with a Zeri.
Okay. All right.
This is Chumslog's favorite AD carry.
This is Chumslog's favorite AD carry by a country mile, and I've had the pleasure to cast him playing it, and he's always done super, super well. Zeri, maybe not the most amazing base stats, but has unparalleled mobility, and into Smolder especially, because Smolder does have some solid engages and disengages, and a pretty safe laning phase too.
Yeah, that's
especially when you're getting drafted with a Nautilus, is going to
Interesting, really.
They're playing to scale again, and I do not believe it's going to work out for them. If this Zeri can get ahead, there's not really a way for them to shut it down.
And this Zeri can jump on Smolder very easily, especially if Nautilus is off doing something.
I'm not sure that they're going to have as dominant of a bot lane, like early bot lane victory as they did last game, though. Especially if they're locking a Rel right here.
I
Wait,
mean,
Could be a flex pick, Rel.
Camille.
All
Camille?
right.
Is that support?
That is 1,000% going to be
I
support.
cannot wait to see a Camille support 1v1 the Smolder.
Yeah, so the Camille support offers a ton of lockdown and a ton of mobility, and she can also just kind of kill people with her Q.
Yeah.
So
I take back what I just said. Now they have a Camille support. They might just be equally as dominant in the early game as last game.
I'm expecting Quokka to make a lot of stuff happen with this Camille support, and then Trumpslog just coming in with the Zeri as follow-up. But you are really putting a lot of pressure on Nautilus to make sure that Smolder stays alive.
And let's see we've banned out the Vi, so they cannot lock that again.
I don't. Why are you banning Lulu?
They don't think this Camille
don't-
support.
they
They don't know.
That's
don't
actually
know.
so good for Ball State. They do not know that that's Camille support.
Poppy.
Poppy going to be banned out from the side of Ball
Okay,
State, so
yeah.
I'm guessing an engaged jungler, or
Might see a
honestly,
Vi.
just for the Camille.
Oh, wait, Vi's ban.
Yeah, no,
My
Vi's been
My
banned.
Vi is banned.
Ball State needs some front line. So
I wouldn't be shocked to see a Sejuani, to be honest. I know
Yeah.
Botlix run it before, and if you're banning out Poppy, I'm low-key expecting a Sejuani. But we'll see. There's 1 second left on this.
I'll say it also kind of looks like Ball State's just playing what they want to play. They're just locking their champions they like. It's
Banning-
is what it feels like so far.
Okay.
Banning another
Rakan.
support.
I
They don't know.
They do not know, and they left Fiora open as well, which is
Their
the
minds just got blown when we offered this Fiora.
Yeah, no, this is the cardinal sin. You cannot do this into Ball State.
Ooh,
You just have Fiora open.
They might be pressuring this Fiora pick on the side of NU.
I don't know
They
how
have
I
no
feel about-
bans left.
All right, so this is the part I disagree with here.
Yeah, I think Ball State needs some form of front line, and they just don't have it right now.
Camille does enough, but it is something like Nautilus, Syndra, especially with her E. we need
Yeah.
more.
All right, I'd like to see like the Ornn in the top now or something. Just get us some.
There is no way you could
No.
convince Silk Flannel to play Ornn. I'm sorry. I don't think that's happening. Kindred being hovered.
Okay.
yeah,
okay.
I think Kindred's okay here. Into them.
This is a scaling comp, and I don't know if they'll get there.
So the problem, again, it's just the Syndra for me. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like Kindred's okay. The bot lane, more than fine from the side of NEU. It's just, the Syndra just kind of feels random to me.
Yeah, they have a weird, especially if they're all connected, they have a weird mix going on. Kindred has a very strong early. Renekton has a very strong early. And then Kindred snowballs hard. She can scale hard, but it's typically when she snowballs. Whereas their Smolder, their Syndra, and their Nautilus are all kind of just playing for late game.
We see the Camille being flexed top lane
Yeah,
here.
is this a Camille top? Okay, no.
It's still a flex. They might change their mind. I don't. Yeah, I was about to say I don't see that happening. no.
Okay, so Aatrox is the most frontliney thing Ball State has. I think Ball State's looking to end this game fast. They're looking to have a similar game as to last game.
Ball State is really banking on the idea that this bot or this top can scale.
Yeah.
I don't think Talia really needs to get a lead early game as much as it's
No.
nice.
No, you have a ton of utility with this Talia, and then with the extra bit of lockdown from that Camille and some of Aatrox's lockdown. He's not, I wouldn't call him like a CC heavy champ, but he can all in pretty reliably. I do like the Aatrox. I think Aatrox should beat Renekton in lane if I remember my matchups correctly, or at the very least, definitely isn't going to get stomped in lane by that Renekton.
What's important here to note is that this bot lane does have prio. I believe this bot lane has prio.
Yeah. So we're going to likely see Ball State taking the first couple drags.
What's also important is that they're going to leverage this prio and make sure that this Kindred does not get her marks if they spawn bot side.
Yeah, so a big thing with Kindred is that Kindred is going to want to be getting those Kindred being the Lamb and the Wolf. They're like a combo champion duo. It's kind of fun.
Together they are Kindred.
Yeah, and together what they want to do is they want to get these marks that spawn over the map, and they increase Kindred's attack range and also
Attack range, attack speed, and damage.
Oh, okay, wow. I thought it was.
It
just
also
range.
affects the power of her abilities.
Yeah, her abilities, like damage, all goes up.
Yep, so that's going to be spawning on jungle camps that Kindred needs to take. And Kindred can also mark enemy champions manually and will consume a mark once Kindred is involved in a takedown. Doesn't have to be a kill, can just be an assist in getting that mark.
So yeah, so what we're going to be looking for with Kindred is 4 marks is what Kindred wants to become a champion.
Yeah.
Not very strong like maybe level 3, has a really strong level 3 compared to most champions, but past that, needs at least 4 marks to really do much. If she doesn't get it, expect Kindred to be really far behind and just not be that useful this game.
I know you play quite a bit of Kindred. So how does Kindred fare into Lee Sin?
Pretty well. It's
okay.
I'll say it's a skill matchup, which is most matchups for Kindred. Kindred just has to dodge that Q, and then Kindred can win the matchup. That's pretty much it.
Okay.
It's pretty honestly, that's the whole thing. Kindred is skill matchups into Ball State's entire team. Kindred can outplay all of them if she plays well. Could easily lose to all of them if she plays bad.
Can you explain Kindred's ultimate? It's unique.
Yes. I keep saying she, by the way. Like I said, it is 2 characters combined. Kindred's ultimate puts a circle on the ground that nothing can die inside of. Towers, actually no, towers can't die. Baron can't die. Champions, your own team can't die. The enemy team can't die. Not even minions can die. And it stays there for, I want to say 3 seconds. It's 3 to 4, something like that. And once it disappears, it heals everyone that's in the circle. So what Kindred can do is get into really, really tough, scrappy fights. And right before she dies, just press R and survive. And there's lots of ways to use it correctly. Lots of ways to where you can accidentally save the enemy team and keep them alive.
I've queued with a few Kindreds on my team who have done exactly that.
It's tough. It's a hard ability to use correctly.
I think a lot of this is going to come. I like Ball State's draft more. I think we can agree. And I think the problem with NEU is that they've drafted quite a few picks that basically say we're confident that we can outplay this.
Yeah.
Whereas Ball State certainly are picking characters that they are good at, don't get me wrong, but are picking characters where it's not like we need to outplay to be effective. We can do this. It doesn't have to be super optimal or on point, but it'll still work.
Yeah.
Ball State's really daring NEU here to try to scale. You know, this Camille does a lot of damage if she does get ahead, as a support, mind you. Taking Bloodsong really does amplify her damage. This Zeri, if she gets a kill ahead, if she gets experimental hexplate, this Zeri can really leverage so much against this enemy team. They are kind of immobile.
Yeah, Smolder doesn't have a ton of mobility. Syndra is almost
After that ease gone, there's not a lot you can do.
Yeah, is sort of the quintessential super immobile mage mid laner pick. And yeah, you really got Renekton's dash, and that's kind of it. And I guess Kindred's roll.
You have Kindred's Q, which is like one of the shortest dashes in the game, but it does go over walls. So depending on how she uses it, it could be good. And we will see as we jump into game.
Going in a game.
Let's go. All right. Ball State, like you said, they are daring NEU to scale here. Ball State will be on the red side, so on that right half of that map, and NEU will be on the blue side. I'm expecting to see a lot of action in the bot lane and in the jungle especially.
No, I'm going to say, seeing as you said, I play a lot of Kindred, I immediately, never mind, fight's breaking out right away as Nautilus hits a hook onto Wombat Baby. I don't think he can make it out.
No, he's just dead. That Ignite will be used there by the Nautilus, and first blood goes to Syndra. And yeah, you're burning the TP from Talia. That is really tragic from the side of Ball State, actually.
That's a rough start. Syndra might be able to actually play the game now because of that.
Everything's stale. We're waiting to see what happens.
Yeah, things just slowed down dramatically after that. Nobody wants to make a mistake like that again.
Happy to see that Wombat Baby did not burn Flash there after he got ignited by this Nautilus. He knew he was dead, and he was okay with that.
I think
as much as you could be.
Yeah. I think it's worth noting that the Kindred did take the press the attack rune. So when you take that on Kindred, you are trying to play her as an early game champion.
Here comes the level 2 engage from the Camille. Is just going to get that Aftershock rune off of the Nautilus there.
Yeah, little poke down to the Nautilus, but as I was saying,
as you were saying,
Kindred is playing for the early game with those runes. Typically, if you want to play for late game, you take Conqueror or maybe Lethal Tempo. But she has taken Press the Attack, is looking to try to make some early game impact and get some early kills.
For those who may not know, Press the Attack, once you land 3 attacks or abilities, hold that thought as we have a gank coming up in this top lane, and that Renekton does not have dash available. Will just simply be taken down. G-Sung will be taken down quite speedily there by the Lee Sin and the Aatrox. But as I was saying, press the attack. Once you get 3 attacks or abilities off, it weakens the enemy champion, so you'll be dealing more damage. And it's pretty nasty in the early game, but it does fall off as the game goes on.
And it also deals an initial, like, pretty large burst of damage when you hit that third ability on them, or third attack.
This makes sense because of the fact that, you know, Renekton into Aatrox, there's a lot of burst damage there, but you need something that lasts. Aatrox actually getting ganked by the Kindred right now as we speak.
Oh, does he get away? No, I don't think he will. No.
Does land the Q.
Kindred needs one auto.
Q.
One auto. Oh, that was he was being shoved under the enemy tower. I was like, why isn't he just walking under tower?
Yeah, he's just being forced back. CLoL just gonna get lasered down by the tower there. Bot lane, like you said, not quite as nearly as explosive as compared to Kalista, but that Camille sitting in bush is pretty threatening. And here comes Boatlick for a gank.
I'm trying to see, did...
Oh, here comes the engage. The flash is going to come out, and the flash from the Smolder as well. The ignite has been put down onto the Smolder, and they are jumping onto this Nautilus. Going to be taking the Nautilus pretty low, and you're just forcing a back here from the NEU bot lane. You just can't really do much in response.
Both flashes burned on the Nautilus and the Smolder. Smolder only has Ghost as a form of mobility alongside with his E. They stay, as a matter of fact, taunting this Lee Sin, asking you to dive us.
No, I'd love to... I don't know if we have the ability to see how many marks Kindred has. I know she took 1 from the river, but did she get a mark off of killing the Aatrox right there?
We would have to see Kindred's champion portrait when it's being hovered.
Okay.
To be able to tell. I would assume they have around 2 marks by now, but we'll see when eventually we get.
I'm waiting for that 4 marks. That's when she gets scary.
Yeah, no, 4 mark Kindred is quite terrifying. But it looks like things are going to be slowing down here. Ball State is technically down in kills and gold, but it's not honestly the end of the world. No game-shattering plays have happened just yet.
Syndra able to back on Lost Chapter, which provides a lot of, you know, what's the word? Mana sustain in lane. Every level up, you get 20% of your maximum mana back.
Yeah. It's a good item.
And that's an early Lost Chapter, whereas Wombat Baby had to go for that Tear of the Goddess, which also gives quite a bit of mana, but does delay his first item.
And the engage is coming on here as we see Boatlick walking, maybe looking to get on this Renekton. I don't think this Renekton has vision here. G-Sung is kind of playing with fire. Might be getting burned. The Q does land. The rotate from the Kindred flash is going to be burned by G-Sung. It's rapidly turning into a 2v2 though, as the rest of NEU is walking up to this top lane. It's a very, very awkward fight here for NEU. Ball State is going to be looking for the engage. Does manage to land that Aatrox Q and hits the second. Oh, I was fully prepared for CLoL to just say, I'm going in and just jump and hit that third Q, but will not be able to.
Ball State might force Grubs off of this.
I think they're just going to force a fight.
And yeah, here comes the fight. The Flea E is going to go down, and that Syndra will just die, as will the Nautilus. Just really unfortunate positioning here. The World Ender from Aatrox, that being his ultimate, of course, was popped. And CLoL just going to keep running this Kindred down. The flash is not going to help at all. It's going to get caught into the sweet spot for the Q. Maybe looking to get a kill back on the Quokka here, but Quokka does have that bone plating to block some damage. And so Ball State looking to reset, just take the grabs. Do they know that G-Sung is there? Although they do now, at least. Yeah, you can see CLoL stopping that recall is going to get cut out. This has probably been such a long and just awkward skirmish, and I truthfully don't know who's going to come out on top. Quokka goes down. Boatlick forced to flash out, but is ignited and is looking very, very low. CLoL just all alone in the grub pit. That's a double kill for the Renekton, as well as NEU taking the grubs. I thought Ball State had that in the bag, but it just seemed like, yeah, just drug that out way too long.
Yeah, G-Sung was able to get some crazy damage off there by himself while his team rotated over. And just a tough fight for Ball State. I was about to talk about how they had taken the gold lead back and were going to get an objective lead, and they threw that away pretty much. NEU, once again, has a slight gold lead and is going... I think they got 2 grubs there, whereas Ball State was able to get 1.
Important note here, Zeri is most likely going Static Shiv first item. You know, delaying experimental hex plate, that's fine. You know, you want to get this lane pressure onto the Smolder, make it to where he cannot farm his stacks as easily under tower.
Very true. Smolder, for those who don't know, once he hits 225, I thought the changes had gone through. 225 stacks does get an execute passive, where once someone goes below a certain amount of health, they just immediately die. It's quite broken, and that amount of stacks is getting changed next patch, but that is sort of the ticking time bomb you have to deal with if you are against a Smolder.
And just about everyone in the lobby is hitting 6 around now. We still have Quokka here at level 5 and Ekin also at level 5. But they will hit 6 soon. Expect to see some Kindred ultimates coming out and changing some fights up.
Ball State sitting on 2 grubs while NEU only has 1. Really need to leverage this next batch that comes out.
Drake is up, and we can see that Ball State is positioning, trying to get some priority for this. Jumpslug alone in the bot lane, while Quokka and Boatlick are just walking around into the NEU jungle. And Quokka does have a lot more damage than Nautilus. Nautilus does have quite a bit of lockdown, and Jumpslug just going to E over, going to pop that Zeri ultimate. The Ignite goes down, and Ancient will just go down as well.
Getting a plate.
Meanwhile, up top, the World Ender has been popped, but Silk Flannel will just go down as well. So that is a response from the jungle, and that means Bolik has the free option to go and jump on this Smolder. And you saw that massive rain of fire coming from the sky. That was Smolder calling for his mother to beat up these bullies, but a flash will save Quokka as Boatlick picks up that kill.
And I was just going to say, Ball State really needs to secure this dragon. They're kind of, the people who need to scale on NEU are scaling right now. They're getting money, they're getting kills. Not so much Smolder, but we're seeing this Syndra has a kill. We're seeing this Kindred 2-0-2 with some shutdown. Renekton doesn't need to scale, but if he has gold, then he's going to be a pretty big damage problem later on in the game. So we need Ball State to be getting some objectives, because they need this game to not, it needs to be in a good spot for them if this game does go later.
NEU especially really wants getting that.
Oh, no.
Yeah, just face checking that is just going to have Silk Flannel get absolutely run down. And I was about to say, this Kindred and Renekton getting fed is really super good here for the side of Ball State. Renekton's going to be providing a lot of utility with those stuns and dashes, and then you have...
You said it's good for Ball State.
Oh, I said it's good for Ball State. I was talking about utility, and I saw you give me a look. My faux pas aside, meanwhile, in the bot lane, we are going to be seeing this Zeri running down Ichin once again. Ichin has just been having a rough series overall, just getting caught out constantly by the engages from the Ball State bot lane. But as I was saying, Kindred and Renekton getting fed is really good here for the side of NEU. Thank you.
I forgive you, Rory.
And that's exactly who you want getting ahead in this early game as the laning phase is slowly drawing to a close.
Can remark on Lee Sin right now. We will see how that develops. I do believe that this game will go out to, you know, this Kindred and Renekton versus this Zeri. If they can lock her down, I don't know if there's a lot that Ball State.
Oh, speaking of lockdown, the Camille ultimate will be popped, and I don't know if Syndra gets out, but she does. And the ultimate from Renekton, Jisung on a killing spree, and I don't think Ball State has the damage to deal with this. That Renekton is way too tanky. Not the dredge line, that would be the depth charge going onto the Lee Sin is going to knock him up. Quokka is just going to have to run. Oh, that's really deep here from the side of NEU, but Jisung will get out, as will Quokka, and that is really good for NEU.
And Jisung is really just making his presence known on this map. I was going to say that bot lane, this game's going to be a story of bot lane versus top lane, because our bot lane's getting way ahead, whereas the enemy top lane's getting NEU's top lane's getting very far ahead. However, already this Renekton is getting his mid game, or his mid laner back in the game. I expect him to start coming bot maybe and getting his bot lane back in the game.
Oh, and we're talking a lot about Renekton, but Smurfed is on a rampage right now. That is a Kindred with 4 kills.
I wonder how many stacks.
I would be very curious to know
well, there's no fight. Can we get a little hover over Kindred?
Just to check on the progress, but in the meantime, we will be seeing this tower plate being taken, and Ball State really needs their bot lane to kind of start carrying this fight. Off-screen, Void Grubs will be taken by that Kindred.
Observer, we beg. Double-click on the Kindred.
We'll get there eventually. I will say, though, that stacks, regardless, Kindred having Kraken Slayer this early in the game is...
We will see a fight breaking out in the bot lane.
Yeah, and that Zeri ult is going to be popped. The Smolder W does go in, and this is just not good here for the side NEU. Killing spree for Jumpslog. Once again, Ichen just engaging and not really getting much out of it. There's not a ton that you can follow up with there as Smolder, and the jungler is nowhere near that bot lane. And actually, that Smolder is just going to be locked down by the Camille, and will be taken down. Bliss being killed by Quokka there. That's what you want as Ball State.
And as we see, Jisung sitting with the most gold in the lobby, but barely ahead of Chumslog over here, who is really going to be the... All of our eyes are going to have to be on Chumslog this game, because he is going to be the majority of the damage that's going to hopefully win Ball State these team fights.
Wombat Baby and Silk Flamer are both quite behind. We will see how that goes, though. I do believe the Zeri can carry this game.
Oh, just gets one shot.
Yep, and there's the power of Syndra. If you can get a lead, there's just simply nothing that Bola could do once he got stunned by that.
Syndra gets stacks of, what's the name of her passive?
Splinters.
Splinters. When she deals damage to enemy champions with two abilities. You know, like a Q and a W.
Wombat Baby forced to flash, but the engage coming in here from Ichen, and Wombat Baby just has no HP, has not a lot of damage, just can't trade back, and Smurfed is unstoppable, hits level 10 off that fight, and is just looking to keep the snowball potential of Kindred going.
Yeah, Kindred is known as one of the best snowball champions in the game. Snowball meaning, you know how when you roll a snowball down a hill, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger? Well, if she gets a lead, she gets bigger and stronger and stronger and stronger, and it's really hard to stop her.
Yeah.
This fun fact: this Kindred has not been in any danger this entire game. She's never used ultimate.
Yeah, she doesn't need to. I mean, the damage that this Kindred has at this point is pretty devastating.
And then, unfortunately, we mentioned that Ball State had a bit of a frontline problem with this comp, and I mean, we're seeing that kind of play out. Aatrox really only has Profane Hydra, and that is a damage item, and you're not looking to really tank a lot of people.
I figured he would go a Sundered Sky first and into more of a Bruiser tank build, because, you know, they have no frontline.
Is just going to be picking up that lethality Aatrox. But off screen, that is a shutdown onto the Syndra for the Lee Sin.
The Zeri is going Phantom Dancer second item, which works really well with her entire kit. Building that movement speed, we might see a fight break out here over Rift Herald.
Yeah, that is going to be a shutdown. Ball State does have quite a bit of control over this jungle at the moment. Boatlick going to be getting out. Quokka kind of walking up, trying to dissuade any of NEU from rotating. And yeah, they're just going to be taking this Herald. I don't think NEU really wants to take it. There is going to be an engage there onto the Nautilus. Once again, Ichen just getting caught out a little bit. Herald at 1537.
Peeking around the side of the screen.
Yeah, Shelly's saying hello. And this Rift Herald can be used to take towers, to do a engage on a character, can Tokyo drift around the map if you just want to have fun. And in the meantime, we can just once again engage on Ichen. Ichen's just been getting caught out so much. It just doesn't seem like it's really their series.
Yeah, I'm still just eyes on this Kindred and the Zeri, because they are the ones making things happen right now. I guess also in part, somewhat Boatlick in the jungle. Lee Sin is putting out quite a bit of damage, pressure on the map.
This Camille will pop off late game too with that true damage ratio.
Yeah, we're going to need Camille. She did finish first item, so that's good.
Is sitting on that Eclipse.
Well, Camille Q, to describe what it does.
Yeah.
Whenever you press and you auto attack somebody, there's a small delay in between when Q2 comes up. You can recast it again to deal as much damage as your first one did. But if you wait a second and cast it, well, Aatrox is getting engaged on.
Yeah, he's going to flash and he's going to be forced to
the Kindred's coming. I think Kindred gets this.
I think Smurfed actually does get this. There's a lot of damage.
No. Oh, the flash,
yeah. The flash, going to get the roll.
Oh my gosh.
Silk Flannel with the
Huge
shutdown. That's actually massive. Quokka is going to be killed off screen by Utopian Soldier as the rest of Ball State is looking to pressure down. This mid-tower flash Q is going to be dodged out by that Syndra, and the re-engage is coming out from the Nautilus here. And Boatlick is taking quite a bit of damage, but that tower is looking very, very low. Syndra is going to stun everybody, but Chumslog is going to flash in, is going to ult with the depth charge, is going to knock him up. They won't quite be able to get a double kill, but will go on a rampage, killing that Syndra and off screen. Meanwhile, Jisung has killed that Aatrox. But that shutdown is absolutely huge for Ball State. And as you can see, they turned that momentum and ran away with it.
A massive mistake on the side of NEU.
Yeah, and that was the benefit of Silk Flannel going this Profane Hydra first item.
You were a doubter.
Yeah, I was a doubter.
I was a doubter too.
Sundered Sky would not get that kill right there.
Nope.
No, it would not.
Profane Hydra absolutely deletes her, gets him that big, huge shutdown that really is going to put that Aatrox back in the game. Now, he did just...
Ball State ahead in gold, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, this is entirely
Massive
Yeah,
mistake.
this is a huge mistake from the side of NEU. Ball State just got a lot out of that.
And
Well-
you see this Zeri Boatlick over here sitting on 650 shutdown gold.
I do believe this
I
Zeri
meant
is
chump
going
slot.
Infinity Edge third item.
Okay,
Either
nice.
that or does Navori build from BF Sword? I don't think it does it. It's Warhammer Pickaxe and I think Crit Cloak.
I believe you're right. So that will be an Infinity Edge third item. So just going to be upping that crit damage. And I mean, that's a really solid pick, especially into NEU's team comp. They're not building anything overtly tanky outside of whatever health that Renekton's going to be building and whatever resistances that Nautilus is going to be building. And
Kindred
Nautilus
trying
is
for a second time.
not going to be a factor in this game. But yeah, we're going to be seeing a second tower dive. They really want this top side opened here.
Now they have the Nautilus with them.
Yeah, Silk Flannel is going to be poking with the Aatrox Q. The engage is going to happen top side.
He's going to have to give tower.
Yeah,
Tower,
it
yeah.
has to give tower. There
As-
are no glory plays to be had up here for Silk Flannel.
As I was explaining before the outplay, if you use Camille's Q, there's a little delay when you can use your Q2, which allows her to cast it again with a large true damage ratio. As I explained before the game, true damage is damage that cannot be blocked by armor or MR, though there are certain abilities in this game, such as Belveth E, I do believe, that allow you to block percentage of true damage.
Yeah, but there's no true damage resistance from the side of NEU here. And you did see them use that, you did see Ball State rather use that Rift Herald to take down the mid tower, but now they're kind of getting routed in the river here. They were a bit too far forward.
Chump
Slug,
Slug,
Chump
no.
Slug.
He's going to give away the shutdown to Kindred.
That is, okay. A shutdown to Syndra is
That might be
not,
worse.
Not terrible
Is
for
it?
the side of NEU. I think that's actually
not
really, really
great.
good.
That shutdown going to anyone, that's not great.
Yeah, that is 650 shutdown plus 300 off the kill. That's a lot of gold going to that Syndra.
And that dragon will be claimed from the side of NEU.
Observer, can we pretty please see Smolder stacks and Kindred stacks?
Oh yeah, those are the things to be looking out for. Those characters once they start getting
We need to see them in the bottom left corner of the screen. That's how we can check
Yeah,
that.
double clicking on their character portraits on this side of the screen should be able to let us see them.
in the interior.
It's no big deal.
Yeah, in the interior. We are going to be seeing, again, like that shutdown was very, very big for Syndra there, going to be picking up that Shadow Flame and going to be binding the needlessly large rod. So that Syndra is going to be pumping out a metric ton of damage, and it's just going to be really difficult for Ball State to deal with. As you can see, they're just trying to play things safe, just trying to keep vision control, keep tabs on where NEU is located.
I feel this Kindred mark has been on Lee Sin the entire game.
Yeah, well, it's been there a long, long time.
Well, you know, I mean, if you're farming your camps effectively as Kindred, you might as well just not worry. Maybe it's been being swapped around too. To be fair, we haven't been paying super close attention to that thing.
Ball State has fallen behind in gold after losing Drake and giving that Zeri shutdown to that Syndra. Syndra now having her own 150 gold shutdown.
Ball State on the back foot, and things are going to be tricky here, but I think,
Have to give mid.
yeah, you have to give mid. I think if you play this right, they're just looking for an outplay angle at this point. Bolik trying to make something happen, but the rest of NEU is here to collapse. Bolik might actually be in a lot of trouble. That ultimate from the Nautilus is going to land, and the Smolder ultimate will go through as well, and Bliss will simply just take down that Lee Sin, and that is a
Forcing Baron.
Baron angle 100% for NEU.
And Kindred collecting that mark off the Lee Sin right there. Finally not on the Lee Sin.
Yeah.
At long last.
Corker, I don't think you can take this.
Yeah, I don't think they should even be here
Oh,
thinking about
Broka
it.
is going to get jumped on, going to get stunned by
That
the
is so much
Renekton.
damage.
Does have those shields to keep him safe, but the Renekton damage is just too much. Coco super low HP. Wombat Baby throws down the wall trying to help, but is just going to be forced to cancel it early. And just, Ball State, it feels like backs to the ropes a little bit here. We did see Silk Flannel splitting down in the bot side, at least trying to get something out of that. But this is just looking really difficult, and NEU scales way better than what Ball State has drafted here.
Yeah, and as we've said multiple times, just Ball State not having a front line here is these fights are not lasting long enough for Chumslog to really get his damage off. Chumslog does not have the burst that the Kindred on the side of NEU have, or the burst. Chumslog doesn't even have the burst that a Smolder is going to have at some point. Chumslog needs these fights to last a little longer. However, does not have a front line to make them last that long.
And Smurf is just gonna take down Quokka. I don't know. It's starting to look like first game, but in reverse. I don't know if there's a lot that Ball State can do to respond. That Kindred has so much damage, and there's just not a lot of frontline power in anything Ball State has here.
To be fair, you both did predict this. You said Ball State was going to wipe first game. NEU is going to find something out second, and then it comes down to whichever team can keep that up.
Yeah, it's looking like that might be the case as to what happened. We are having a slight issue, but we are back, ladies and gentlemen, as that tower will go down. And again, Ball State, they are trying, they are throwing out their abilities. You can see Wombat maybe throwing down the Talia E, throwing out those Qs, just trying to keep NEU off this tower, but NEU, they just kind of don't care. Cool.
But that's a great Talia engage.
But there's just no follow-up. You just don't have the
Syndra
damage. And yeah, Quokka just can't follow up at all. The Smolder is that ultimate almost hit Quokka, but Quokka will barely make it out alive. And again, there's just no re-engage available to Ball State here. They are just being pushed to their tower.
Ball State really needs to clear waves here and make it so that they cannot leverage too much with their Baron buff.
And they're trying. They're shoving these waves quick, and they're going to be able to get them pushed out quite far before NEU is able to respond to that.
But again, it really does feel like it just NEU has finally scaled. They've come online.
It could end right here.
And yeah, this is going to be a really important fight, and already it's not looking good for Ball State. Boatlick is just going to get gunned down by Smurf, and the rest of NEU is looking to follow up. Ball State just trying to retreat. That Syndra E is going to pop the Edge of Night onto the Aatrox, meaning he no longer has that sort of shield available to him. And yeah, NEU is just sort of walking in the Ball State's base. I don't think there's a ton that they can do. Quokka is going to get cut out here. Is going to try for the re-engage, but once again, the Syndra damage is just too much. The game has gone on long enough where her splinters are really going to start hurting, and the Renekton ultimate has been popped. Wombat Baby is trying to just do anything, but just does not have the damage. Jisung is dominating. That inhibitor is going down, and the rest of Ball State is just forced back into base, and NEU will just end the game right here.
Maybe? Oh,
Maybe.
Smolder does have his execute passive coming online right now.
Smolder execute the
There's the Kindred ult.
Hey, there's
First
the
one
Kindred
of
ult.
the game.
First one of the game.
And there comes the ace. Smolder stacks coming on really at the perfect time, almost exactly at 25 minutes actually, and Quokka just trying to make something happen, but will just get taken down.
And Ball State forfeits.
And Ball State will forfeit that particular match actually.
Okay.
Well,
It was going to be done in a few seconds anyway.
that is true.
Yeah,
It's a time save. It's a time
I
save.
didn't actually know you could do that in the ESC. I'm going to be real.
It is a time save. We're speedrunning.
Exactly, exactly.
So, I already have lots of thoughts on what Ball State needs to do different.
Let's hear them then. I think we all do.
Firstly, I think clearly Kindred is a comfort pick of NEU. They were hovering at first game, decided it wasn't a good pick into the Ball State's team, picked it second game. I think Ball State needs to prioritize a champion like Poppy. I think Poppy's very important. It seems like a lot of the champions that NEU likes to play are countered by Poppy. I think Poppy's an important pick. Don't ban. I think they banded away themselves that game. Don't do that. Try to pick it this time. We do have some end of game stats to look at.
Right.
That'll help back some of this up.
And yeah, that's just a big gold bleed. There's no other way to put it.
Yeah. Also, I think we can all agree, Ball State needs frontline. They need some form of frontline. I'd say take the Camille out. It's worked before, didn't work this time. Let's not give it another try. I think we just need a real support, traditional support, maybe a tank somewhere. We need a tank somewhere because the fact that we got Chumslog ahead, but we didn't have any frontline to like really peel for Chumslog was a problem.
Something that isn't really stated on this end of the game stats is that this Kindred was sitting on at least 3,000 gold by the time the game ended.
Yeah, I mean, that would have been a huge, already that's a huge amount of items for the Kindred right there, but even just backing. And yeah, Renekton leading the charts in damage, just barely over that Syndra. But NEU, game 1, the plan was we kind of need to scale up. Game 2, the plan was we kind of need to scale up, but they did it a lot more efficiently this time around.
Yeah, their lanes that were able to play for the early game got so far ahead that they could go and affect the rest of the team and get them ahead also.
I think a large issue on Ball State's part here was their positioning during laning phase. That Kindred was able to get so many ganks off top lane that it allowed her to scale far ahead of this Lee Sin, as we see with that over 2,000 gold, lead at that point. Bot lane did get ahead, but they were allowed to scale because the game didn't go on long enough. Syndra was given a lot of gold through shutdowns, one by maybe 4k gold down. There's just not a lot Ball State could have done. I don't believe they have the damage to really just prevent NEU from running at them.
Yeah, that was the issue. I do agree with the front line. I actually really like the Camille support. I think it was doing a lot in that lane. I would have liked to see some more, something like a tanky engaged jungler. So I know Sejuani was left open, and that's sort of the one that's jumping right to my mind. Is I really think a Sejuani would have helped out a lot, especially with just sort of keeping Chumpslog alive, right? You want, Chumpslog was running away with the bot lane quite a bit, and if you can just keep that Zeri alive, have her output really consistent DPS, I think that would sort of be Ball State's way back into the game if you had the Sejuani and everything else went the way it did.
And then it may have been being hovered as a joke earlier. However, I think Ivern would have actually been a really good jungler that game too. He still can't get countered by Kindred. That's fine. Ivern's pretty good at avoiding people if he wants to. He has Daisy for a little front line. Shields on Aatrox are insane. You're throwing shields on that lethality Aatrox, he's going to be doing a lot better. You're throwing some shields on the Zeri that's already moving fast, already putting out a lot of damage. That's huge. I think Sejuani or Ivern would be a pretty good pick if they want to go a similar comp as last game.
I think this third game will be interesting because both times NEU has clearly been playing around. We're gonna try and scale up.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see how Ball State responds to that. Do they draft more early aggression again? Are they gonna draft like a?
We might see another Callista.
I would not. The Callista was left open last time.
Yeah.
I wouldn't hate that pick. So we'll have to see. I think both. I did like Ball State's draft better in game 2. I think what we had said is it's kind of come down to an outplay potential, and that's exactly what happened. Ball State simply just got outplayed with the picks that NEU had drafted. So I'm curious to see how they'll respond. But in the meantime, we are going to be going to a short commercial. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back soon for game 3.
The quest for knowledge and a greater understanding is a lifelong pursuit. An ascent towards a fulfilling career and a meaningful life. As Ball State Cardinals, we learned early on that it's our responsibility to prepare and to prepare you for anything. Beneficence stands tall as a symbol of enduring values that have sustained us for more than a century. Forged during a turbulent time, the Great Depression, and from the contributions of more than 11,000 people, Beneficence inspires us. What we know about adversity is that we do not choose the time, but we do choose the response with grit, creativity, and dedication. Where tradition meets innovation, we form an enduring partnership, a formidable alliance with a deep desire to learn, to teach, to grow, to thrive, to fly. The values of Ball State University embody a wealth of opportunity, a powerful bond among faculty, staff, students, and alumni, and a bright future that includes you. Our intellect and experiences fuel our purpose and our capacity to serve our neighbors. Your journey begins now. We will remember this time for the opportunities we seized, the discoveries we made, and the lives we transformed. At Ball State University, with Beneficence as our guide, we fly.
I know you're happy to see me, just as happy as I'm to see you. Welcome back.
All right. So this is we wanted high quality games, and I feel like we got high quality games. So going into Game 3, do you think NEU changes sort of the theme of their draft here at all?
I think we will see the Kindred staying with a priority top laner if possible.
I'm wondering, do you think Kindred's worth a ban?
So that's interesting, because you said she does have some pretty just unplayable matches. I think Poppy was one you mentioned in particular, where it's just almost unplayable for the Kindred. I don't know. So the problem with comfort picks, right, is you ban out that comfort pick, but now you've left something that's just more tactically effective open. Like maybe instead of this is just an example, but maybe if instead of banning Karma, you ban out Kindred. Well, now Karma might be left open, and they can grab Karma, and now you have a Karma mid lane problem. So I don't know necessarily if Kindred is worth the ban, because I feel like the Kindred was able to really shine because you had that utility set up with the Renekton, with the Syndra to an extent that Kindred was able to make use of. I personally wouldn't ban it, but I don't think it's a terrible idea to ban it, if that makes sense.
Something you would have noticed in the game is that the Kindred really did not play bot side at all. The Syndra into Talia, the matchup is basically neutral. They handshake to farm for the most part until Talia gets a lot of AP. Not a lot, but some, enough to clear wave. Renekton is very strong early game, especially at level 3, level 4, level 5, and level 6. Kindred did play off of that, pushing that top advantage as hard as she could, getting multiple ganks and pushing her lead. Ball State, there's nothing, or not Ball State, bot lane. There was nothing that she could really do down there. So, she played to her strengths, played to her team strengths, used her lead to push the lead on the other side of the map. She got that lead top side. She, when it came to Drakes, went bot side, things like that. I think the Kindred would be fine here if Ball State, or it'd be fine from a Ball State's perspective if they had lanes that got prio.
Yeah, honestly, if you're going to let the Kindred through, I wouldn't hate to see a Kalista Nautilus bot lane again.
Yeah, I'd agree. And do you think Renekton should be let through again?
I think Renekton's fine if they just have someone that can match him.
Yeah, if you have someone who can kind of turtle up in the Renekton laning phase, or if you draft a jungler that can at least slow Renekton down in the early game, I think the Renekton is fine. I really do think it was just kind of a lane issue, in which the fact that because you have these either neutral or maybe slightly weaker lanes in the
Syndra did
early
begin
game.
to win, so.
Yeah. Syndra did start the game with a kill too, which is not ideal.
I don't expect that to happen again. I'm not too worried about that personally.
Well, still, it played a large factor in
Syndra
being comfortable topside.
Absolutely. I think we will see Syndra let through again, just because I never felt like Syndra was sort of the most essential part of the NEU draft.
Yeah.
But as for the Kindred ban, I think that's truthfully up in the air. I feel like Ball State's going to want to come up with a team composition that executes a game plan, and then maybe responding to a potential Kindred draft as an afterthought.
Yeah. Now, I do want to remind everyone, if you're just tuning in, maybe didn't catch the very beginning, this is an important game. This is not only a revenge match for Ball State. NEU is the university that beat us in the championship last year. Not only is it that, it is also the fight for #1 in the league right now. Top 2 teams get to skip to the semifinals of the finals tournament, and whoever wins this is kind of securing their spot within those top 2 teams.
Yeah, it's critically important here. So Ball State really feeling the pressure, right? First game went super well for them. Second game really did not go their way. It felt like it was a really rough start, and it only seemed like it got worse from there. There were a couple of individually really solid plays. I think we were all sort of shocked when Silk Flannel got that shutdown on the Kindred in the top lane with the Aatrox. But
it sadly didn't translate to much, though.
Unfortunately not. But it's been really back and forth between both teams. And so Game 3, this is sort of do or die here for Ball State.
Mm-hmm. It's a big game, and I feel like Ball State, they've come into all their games with lots of confidence. I don't think they're sweating too much. I think they're like, what we tried last game didn't work out. What we tried for Game 1 did work out. I expect to see something similar to Game 1, in my opinion.
Yeah, they've shown that they have an ability to lock in when necessary, but we are going to be hopping into draft right here. Ball State will be on the blue side this time, meaning they get first pick, and we will have NEU on that red side. Volley Bear getting be banned out immediately from the side of Ball
They
State.
really don't want to fight this Volley Bear. It is a pretty oppressive champion in the top lane
very
right now.
strong right now.
Yeah.
Wukong ban coming out from the side of NEU, so I'm not too shocked by anything I've seen so far.
I would be happy with the Poppy pick. I do agree with you. A Smolder ban.
All right. I always love a Smolder ban because I despise that champion. So I'm fine with that.
It's funny. Just a few weeks ago, you were all excited about new Smolder builds and stuff.
I was very excited, and then I realized how disgustingly broken it was. It is just a ticking time bomb. I love the character design. I love the kit idea, but
seeing a Senna ban.
All right, seeing a Senna ban as well, and I think that's really smart from the side of NEU. Once again, you just want to target this bot lane here.
Will we see a Callista ban?
I don't think so.
I doubt it, to be honest. I don't think that's a consideration for NEU. Although they are.
They're thinking about it.
They're thinking about it. They're thinking about something there. There are a lot of variables to consider with this kind of draft. I wouldn't hate a Callista ban here. Personally, I'm looking to ban out a mid laner. I think getting rid of that Talia would be pretty solid. Yeah, there we go.
There you go.
There you go.
Talia.
Hey, they're just listening to you.
Exactly.
We sure we have stream delay on?
Karma.
Yeah, Karma was left
Karma
open,
was
so first
left
pick Karma mid. So apparently, I feel like I should have checked during the commercial break. I thought she got nerfed.
She did get her
She's
item.
still very strong.
She got very slightly nerfed, and then her items got nerfed. However, still quite a strong pick. They're not trying to take her out of the mid lane.
It is also a flex pick that Ball State can really. Veigar?
That has to be a joke.
Okay, it is also a strong pick that Ball State can leverage here. A flex pick.
All right, and this is, I mean, Gauntlet's been thrown. Wombat Baby is known for Ahri, but NEU saying we can do Ahri better. And
There's the
Kindred,
Kindred.
yeah,
Okay. Now give me the Poppy. Lock it and then give me the Poppy.
I would love to see Poppy, honestly. Oh, whoa, we're flying around the champion picks here. Jin?
Jin Bard?
Okay, Kindred. I wouldn't hate
We do
Jin,
need to
be
play a
honest.
strong top and bot lane for Prio because Karma into Ahri. Ahri will clear those waves faster than Karma can.
Yeah, I like the team fighting potential from Karma a lot more, but Ahri does just have a pretty solid laning phase, really good sustain as well.
I think I'd go ahead and just lock an ADC right here. Oh, okay.
Nidalee being hovered.
I mean, not terrible.
I'm worried we're going to see a repeat of last time where, okay.
Let's hope
We'll
this
see.
works.
I know Boatlick's a very good Nidalee, and I don't initially
Fiora.
hate this
yes,
pick. So
okay, I am very happy if we get a
That's
Fiora pick through here.
the other way to beat Kindred is hyper invade her and don't let her take her own camps, which that's the Nidalee job. So we'll see how that goes.
Fiora is being hovered. I know Silk Flannel really saw it on this Fiora. Okay, yep. There we
Silk
go.
Flannel being comfortable here does matter.
We've got 3 pretty comfort picks right now.
Yeah, getting this top lane Prio into someone like Kindred. If we get bot lane Prio too, that makes it really hard for Kindred to play the game. Maybe we see something like Callista here. I don't know. I think we need a more central rounded team fight. We have a Nidalee, which is a lot of burst damage. We have a Fiora, which can really 1v1 and instantly kill somebody.
A
Jax
Jax.
being locked into that.
I'm not sure what
Does
you
that
pick.
beat Fiora?
I think it's even. It's a skill matchup.
I think it is, yeah, because parry and Counter-Strike are just, it's just going to come down to who can manage cooldowns better. So, all right, your NEU. Bot lane is left open for both teams. What you banning?
I expect to see a lot of AD carry bans. Nautilus does make sense.
I like that. So they are going to deny that Callista Nautilus, but Nautilus is not the only support that Callista is comfortable playing with.
I'm banning Callista right here if I'm NEU.
Blitzcrank is going to be denied. Callista does feel like a bit of a risky pick with the things that Ball State has drafted, though,
Could
is the
be,
problem. Because you don't have a ton of late game insurance if that Callista laning phase goes wrong. Yeah, they are deliberating. That timer is ticking down. I can tell. It's probably up to. Okay.
Yep, there it is.
There it is.
There's
There's the Callista ban. So NEU does not want to deal with it. Callista Nautilus is going to get banned out.
A Barris ban does make sense.
Yep.
We might see the Aphelios pick. They were hovering. We might see a Jin Bard. It depends. I don't think Jin Bard would be bad here, actually.
No,
you have a lot of damage on the Ahri, Kindred, and Jax. Getting that lockdown with Jin W would be fun. Would be fun. Excuse me.
Yeah, and a Bard as well would give a lot of roaming power. It could help deal with that Nidalee Kai'Sa being hovered. Okay.
That's good
Kai'Sa
too.
locked. Okay. I know Kai'Sa is very strong right now. I have not seen her since she's been strong.
I think Kai'Sa is one of those champs where it's like it's never going to be truly
Yeah,
awful.
you're never going to be bad.
Jinx is being
Jinx
hovered.
is very good for a team fight.
This is really good late game insurance, especially from Ball State, if that is selected. I actually would really like to see this picked. Don't think it's a awful pick. I'm trying to think of other ADCs you might want.
Rakan. Rakan is left open.
Yeah, we're going to go Xayah Rakan.
We're going to go Samira.
Samira Alistar.
Okay, I like Samira here.
Set.
Whoa!
Okay, set
Wait.
support.
Unless that's being flexed.
It
No,
Karma
could
support?
be
I think it's
set
set
mid.
support. I
It
think
could
it's
be
set
set mid.
support. I'll put money on it. You
No,
guys
no,
wanna play this
I'm
game?
not that confident.
I think it's set support.
I feel like blind picking set support is quite the statement piece
Yeah,
there.
I hate set support. I think it's a horrible pick, but I haven't seen players at this level play it, so maybe I don't have the right idea of the pick.
Kai'Sa
Rakan.
Rakan.
Okay. Huh.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Yeah,
It's set support.
That's
It's
set
set support.
support.
It is.
Okay. So, you, man, I
The
feel like
game
that.
plan is weird on Ball State's side here, but I can see where they're coming from. Though what they really need to do is shut down this Kai'Sa, make it to where she can't scale as fast, get those evolves. Rakan is going to provide a lot for his team. It's on the Karma really here to make sure that the damage that they might get from this Rakan is negated by her shielding.
I'm just wondering. So I imagine Set's gonna have Hex Flash and just
Of
be trying to
course.
Hex Flash out of bushes and pull
Of
them in.
course.
Is Rakan Xayah, like, can he easily get either of them? I feel like those are two champions that are kind of rough for Set to get on top of.
Zaya's gonna have to burn a summoner spell if Set is getting.
Or I meant
That's
Kai'Sa.
a theoretical
yeah.
because there is no Xayah.
Oh, wow.
It is a Kai'Sa.
Yeah, oh my
Kai'Sa
goodness.
can use her ultimate to dodge the set E, but
She also has a speed up, so she can get out of. If he
That
closes.
that E comes out really fast though.
Yeah, it
He's
does.
gonna grab you.
it is basically instant.
This is interesting. I feel like the team fighting from Ball State kind of goes pretty crazy with Set, Karma, Samira especially. That's going to be in a vacuum, right? That's a lot of shielding, a lot of lockdown. Samira's going to be able to build up her passive and use her ultimate. For those who don't know, Samira passive, you auto-attack, you use an ability, you build up style points. Once your style points reach S, you can cast your ultimate where you spin in a big circle and shoot everybody. It's very fun to watch.
I'm gonna be honest. Not taking in like individual player skill into account, I kind of like getting used team comp better.
It is better, but Ball State is playing off the idea that they get ahead, that Nidalee pick, that Samira pick. They really need to get ahead to have a lot of impact, and I do believe with the Kai'Sa Rakan bot lane, if Set can get on top of somebody, that will happen. If Fiora can win a 1v1, Nidalee can use that to invade the Kindred, you know? These things can happen, and if they do, Ball State's team comp is definitely better about scaling harder.
Yeah, I think a lot of this game is going to be on Silk Flannel and Boatlick. Just be up to them to perform. They're going to have to play well.
Kindred scaling takes time because you have to get these marks, and those come up for champions. It's every 3 minutes, and then for camps, I don't know the timer, but it's roughly that same amount.
Yeah, I agree that on paper, I think I like any used draft more, but of course, when we say things like on paper, it doesn't take into account little X factors like junglers coming in, or invades, or just small little mistakes.
I will
So-
say, if they do manage to get Kindred behind, Nidalee can make sure Kindred never gets back in the game. Like, that's the downside to playing Kindred. It is one of the worst champions to play from behind in all of League of Legends. It's
You
really
feel
not
so
fun.
useless.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you saw her like 3-shot autoing people last game. She's
That's a
not gonna be
rarity.
she's not gonna be able to auto attack a single time if she gets behind.
So it really does feel like both Ball State and NEU are rolling the dice here. Both of these team comps have very specific win conditions that feel like they're almost on a knife's edge, because if one thing goes wrong, it's going to be really hard to come back from behind. Almost impossible, I'd say.
Now I have a legitimate question. If let's say this goes late and Jax is like somewhat ahead, it has items. Can anyone on Ball State stop a Jax?
Fiora's riposte is an attack speed slow. It depends on if she's able to counterattack.
Okay.
Since it's Silk Flannel, I'll say yeah, but that is going to demand a lot of mechanical prowess out of the Fiora.
I don't think Jax has to play it nearly as well as Fiora has to
No,
play it.
I don't think so. But this is Silk Flannel on Fiora that we are
It's a lot,
talking
it's a lot.
about. So
We're having some mic problems over here.
Yeah.
Oh. Potentially.
Can we hear in the chat? Can we hear him?
I'm hearing you just fine through my headset. But in the meantime, of course, talking about that top lane, I think Silk Flannel will have an option. We will be running in with the replacement mic really quickly.
Yeah, I think we need to swap out the battery pack.
But I think Fiora has a lot of options into Jax, and I think Silk Flannel can execute those options to a degree where that it won't be an issue. The question I'm curious about is who's going to win that top lane, but we'll find out because we're going to game,
yes,
and we will soon get transfixed back here eventually, and oh no, Jisung.
Oh yes, Jisung.
Oh, Jisung is going to use the counter strike.
I think he gets out. I think he flashes.
I don't know. That Ignite is going to take him down, and yeah, is going to flash out. You do lose that Summoner spell in the top lane, though, and that is absolutely huge, especially for a duelist like Fiora.
Yeah, I like that immediately. I'm already feeling 10 times more confident about this game off of this Jax not having flash up.
Ball State is staying, and Botlick landed 2 spears.
Can we go for 3?
Oh. Almost gets it, but not quite. And you can see that the rest of NEU is rotating, trying to come up, but Ball State just playing it safe. And the TP is forced from Jax as well. So you are having no summoner spells up on that top lane into a Fiora who is more than happy to just run you down.
They are starting this clear. I love watching it. Nidalee clear is probably the most interactive clear in the game. You have to press so many buttons compared to other characters.
You got to change into form, use your spear, auto attack, form change, yada yada yada. All right, so we do have this bot lane here. No Ignite from Quokka, but Set is really, really scary, but Rakan offers a lot of disengage. We are running into a bit of tech issues, so while we are waiting for Riot Games to stop being itself, we are going to actually get back in the game immediately. Yeah, for those who don't know, Riot Games is quite infamous for having the game be quite buggy, for lack of a better word.
Every update, Set flashes in, hits and stun.
Flash E is going to be absolutely huge here. The Rakan re-engage is going to keep everybody alive, but that's a lot of damage that just got tossed out onto the side of the NEU bot lane.
Now, something we haven't talked about much is something supports like to do is take a rune called Hex Flash. That makes it to where whenever you use Flash, after your Flash is on cooldown, you have something called Hex Flash
and
up
it's channeling
in its
right
place.
now.
Right there.
Yeah, and the E is not going to connect, just barely missing it.
It essentially...
yeah, hold that thought, as the first blood will go to Nidalee. We wanted Botlick getting ahead early, and that's a really solid way to do it.
And we've seen Wombat Baby when he gets ahead on that Karma. I feel very confident in the game whenever this Karma is ahead.
What bug happened?
The game, it looks like there's a spectator issue. It just wasn't quite.
So we will catch you up a little bit. Very start of the game, they did an invade onto this Jax, and they got his Flash and his Teleport out of it. Right at the start.
That's very good for the Fiora.
Oh,
being
yeah.
able to leverage Teleport.
Now, it does look like they're having a bit of a brawl in the top lane right now. I can't quite tell what's happening, but their player icons are on top of each other. Fight
Fiora
is still
did go
going.
press the
Kindred's
attack.
rotating over to the fight.
That is a death on the Jax. Fiora with press the attack does get out a lot of damage really fast. You have a lot of auto attack resets, especially on your E and your Q.
Yeah, and with PTA, especially that early
That is
damage
instantly
is
proc.
going to be crazy.
And what we said before this started was this game, a lot of how it's going. The fight
Quokka
breaking
is
out.
just hex flashing, on cooldown. Just waiting for the hex flash to come up, and it's just walking up, hex flashing through the bush, getting an E off. This is just so oppressive for NEU.
So as I was saying, Ball State is really going to... Oh, there's another
Yeah,
fight!
there's another fight. This is a lot of early game aggression here, and Ball State is rotating, but here's the Kindred as well. Wombat Baby super, super low, but that Ari is even lower. Botlick
So
is
much
just trying
damage.
to provide peel, and that's a lot of damage.
Oh,
Wombat
the
Baby!
heal!
The heal is crazy. The Karma shielding is nuts, and Botlick will pick up a kill here. Is going to get charmed.
Ooh.
Utopian Soldier using that Essence passive from Ari, and the damage will eventually pick up a kill as well. They are going to trade even, but Ball State does pull out ahead overall.
Yeah, oh wow, that was an intense and very close fight. As I was saying, I'm very happy to see our top and jungler getting ahead. They are the key for the Ball State to have a pretty clean victory right here. And so far, Silk Flannel dominating the top lane. Nidalee did just
Hex
another.
Flash, double E, that's going to be massive. The knockup will land,
Bliss
but
die here.
Samira does have quite a bit of damage. He's going to use the E
Oh!
and just run out, and that's an easy Samira double kill. And every single time that Hex Flash is off cooldown, Quokka just stands there, channels it, and just lands the double E. This is actually ridiculous. I know we were kind of talking about how how that sort of that set support might seems a little questionable, but honestly, with the way that Ball State's playing it, I respect the vision. I respect the vision.
Wow, you know, to better explain what Set does to you guys, he leverages his health for CC, for damage, especially on the W for true damage. He has a health regen pass if we see this Nidalee fighting this Kindred. Let's see how this goes.
Yeah, you do have those
Going to jump over
boots
wall.
as Nidalee.
Oh,
Yeah, I think
oh
Kindred gets
my
a,
gosh.
Oh, the engage from Nidalee.
She's going to jump again.
Yep, that's just a dead Kindred right there. The heal is going to
Maybe not. She can jump the wall.
Nope.
Okay, no, not in time.
The cooldown
This
does
is
not
what
come
we
out
wanted
fast
to
enough.
happen.
I need to keep starting to talk about what Ball State needs to do to win, because every time I do that, Ball State gets kills.
Yeah, what were you going to say, Aiden?
We need top and jungle to be ahead, and they are ahead.
Quite
I'll say it
so.
fast.
You can look at that gold graph. Boatlick and Wombat Baby are even in gold, and Boatlick has basically gotten all of that from kills. And speaking of kills, Quokka misses the E as the Ahri does pop ultimate to dash away. But that Ahri is super, super low, and I don't know if that sustain is going to be enough to keep her from getting bullied out from under that tower. This is just going Ball State's way in every way possible.
Yeah, I mean, we're winning all lanes, winning the jungle. Really couldn't ask for a better start right now. We just did secure the 3 Void Grubs. I think both teams are going to start looking towards Dragon. We'll
Might
see if
dive the Ahri. Ahri only has Charm. They're going to force
Nidalee
this
and
Kindred
Kindred
out
are
of
gonna
jungle.
clash.
Yeah,
She hits a spear, she can jump on her, misses.
Yeah, there's not a lot you can really do as Kindred. We see the Rakan rotating for a potential re-engage and peel, but the bot lane from Ball State is coming up as well. Quokka on that terrifying set support is once again Flash E. That is the set support bread and butter combo, and it is working so well. I'm fully expecting him to just like walk up and Hex Flash E them again. Quokka just does not fear God nor towers, apparently.
Yeah, so I didn't fully explain Hex Flash. He does have to charge it before he can do it.
We're going to hold that thought as once again the Ball State tower dive to come out and Chumpslog on a killing spree. Chumpslog will get that Samira
Okay.
ultimate.
Okay.
And that is a triple kill. And that is a 5-0 Samira, who will be backing, getting a collector. And I don't know if any of you can do much, as Ball State has 10 kills to their 1.
And Samira is known as, we talked about snowballing in the last game. Samira is probably one of the hardest and fastest snowballing ADCs in the game. If you get a 5-0 lead on Samira, it's pretty hard for anyone to do anything to you for the rest of the game.
This is
A first
insane.
tower before minute 9.
That's kind of crazy. I'd say average first tower is like 11, 12 minutes normally.
This is insane. Yeah, and we're channeling that Hex Flash once again. Quokka is just scaring. It's scaring me a little bit, honestly. Like, having Quokka just like jumping on you with a set, constantly Hex Flashing, looking for these E angles is terrifying.
And you know, this Kindred seems to really like trying to play around Jisung over here, but it's just not working out this game. Kindred needs to just go be somewhere else. Go try to affect some other point on the map, because I do not think Silk Flannel is going to fall for it this game.
And you were talking about Kindred so difficult to play from behind. This Kindred is so
Very
far behind. I
Without
really,
Flash, too.
yeah, I just don't know if there's really a way to get back into the game here as the Kindred.
The only way to come back as Kindred in this situation is to get a bunch of lucky marks back to back to back. If Kindred can get 3 to 4 marks within a few minutes at some point, then sure, Kindred might come back in the game. But until that happens, Kindred's not really a champion on their team.
And that is just going to be so unfortunate, especially since you have such a carry jungler here from the side of Ball State. Nidalee is just going to be completely owning this jungle. Quokka.
Hex
Yeah. Take a, I don't know, like, can we get like a Hex Flash counter? I feel like he's just using it off cooldown.
That is a 15-second cooldown, by the way.
Oh,
Very
he's
short.
also running Phase Rush. I used to play set jungle back in the day, and that was my Phase Rush with Hex Flash. So much fun to play.
Yeah, it does give you a lot of movement speed. Phase rush meaning, yeah.
There it is again.
I'm just having fun watching the Hex Slash. The Charm is going to be blocked by that Samira W, and then the RQ coming out from Wombat Baby is going to take a nice chunk off of that Ari's health. The Dragon is up, and Ball State takes this easily. In fact, Bowlick is already starting it. This is just disastrous from NEU. There is just not a lot you can do. You're down 5K gold already.
Yep, we're pretty much just waiting for Ball State to finish constricting NEU over here. They're just choking them of all resources, all gold, just slowly ending this game.
Jax got solo killed.
Jax got solo killed.
Yeah. Silk Flannel. I feel like poor Silk Flannel, every time Silk Flannel's managed to pick up a kill, it has unfortunately been off camera. Ball State invading this Kindred's jungle. Smurf just has to dash away. There's nothing they can do. They only have the Noon Quiver and nothing else. TP coming down in the bot lane. That is just Samira alone in there. You will get the flash burn, and that would be a massive shutdown, but
They
Chump Slog will
committed
get
a
away.
lot to this bot lane.
Kindred ult will be popped, and it doesn't matter.
As I was saying, they
Picks the
committed a
kill.
lot to this bot lane, trying to get on the Samira, but she did have flash up, so I feel like it was all in vain. The Ahri teleport is gone. Ahri does have flash, though, but the Ahri teleport is gone.
And now Kindred's going to lose her jungle to Boatlick, and I believe Boatlick's going to rotate over and grab these last 3 grubs.
If by grubs you mean Ahri, then yes, she will grab
Oh, yeah.
Well, she's going to take a quick detour, take Ari's soul, and there's going to be another fight bot lane.
Wow.
as Samira,
Chump Slog just 1v2ing.
I do think we saw a TP from...
TP from Fiora.
Yeah, Fiora
Yeah.
did TP for that. Wasn't quite necessary, but at least they did secure the kill. Better safe than sorry.
Absolutely. And then
This Jax is putting himself in a dangerous predicament with the set right behind him.
yeah, this is super deep. Jisung is not really going to get out. I don't see a world in which you get out of this. Counter-Strike does go out to the stun, will
Yeah.
land, but the set E is just going to pull that Jax right back. And Jisung is just trying to make this happen, but killing spree for Boatlick there.
Jisung thought he could kill the jungler, but the thing is, you can't. If you're Jax, you can't fight a Nidalee around walls. Nidalee can just jump the wall, then jump back, then jump over the wall again. Nidalee has so many dashes on such a low cooldown. It's really just one dash, but it's on a really low cooldown.
Compared to Jax's.
Yeah, it's like you can't fight Nidalee in the jungle. There's just too many walls for her to jump over.
And look at that gold graph. That is...
All 5 members of Ball State have more gold than the 5 members of NEU.
No.
In comparison, despite Ball State losing last game, there was not a single point in the game where all 5 members of NEU had more gold than Ball State.
Ahri ultimate going out to counteract Quokka's engage.
Looking for a dive on the Fiora here. Silk Flannel does have a 500 gold shutdown.
So Flannel also has ult, so this Ahri should be careful.
And their engage coming onto Quokka here.
And Chumslog is a 6-0 Samira. I would just be running if he appears on your
Yeah, no,
screen.
here comes the set ultimate for the lockdown.
Still has flash too.
Silk Flannel will pick up that kill
Nope,
over
that
there.
doesn't anymore. My bad. I thought he did. I thought he just ran behind the Ahri. Ahri does not have ultimate, so she cannot get away.
Yeah, this is just a massacre, honestly, from the
Yeah.
side of Ball State. Like, even then, Wombat Baby taking to such low HP is just going to get killed. The Jax, rather, is just going to get killed.
Yeah, it's like not many towers have fallen, but
10k gold
it's
lead
a little early to call the game.
off of kills alone.
But I don't see a route to coming back for NEU right here. Unless Ball State makes some horrendously bad plays that throw the game.
Look at that gold difference.
So, looking at kills isn't always the best way to judge at how a game is going, but it is 19-1. Hold that thought, the charm will land, as we do see that Fiora being taken rather low, and the engage is coming out from the Rakan. Oh,
W onto the
and
Kindred?
This
Oh.
might be big. Chumslog is, however, godlike, and Fiora is just running away. Charm is going to land on the Quokka here. Fiora kind of hovering around in the Dragon Pit, looking for a re-engage. They want this Ahri. Oh, and wow.
Oh my
They're
god!
riposting! Oh, that was so close. Almost a picture
Set should be able to finish this
Fiora.
off.
But yeah, that is just going to be a nice kill for the set there. That was,
That Fiora damage is not okay. Like,
That's PTA for you.
yeah, PTA with Profane, or not Profane, rather, Ravenous Hydra. Meanwhile, G-Sun is going to be gunned down.
Hex Slash
to
over
be
the wall?
Forced to jump. But yeah, Hex Slash over the wall. Quokka gonna have to disengage. I don't think Ball State was quite ready to follow up on that.
To put it lightly, Fiora with PTA is basically egoing into your opponent. You know you're better than them.
Quokka is going to get a lot of shields from that Karma,
Kindred
and
ult
the
comes
Kindred
out.
ultimate has been dropped, so there's going to be no deaths in
Wow.
there. But the minute it drops, Boatlick is going to pick up a nice double kill. Is barely alive, gets the triple kill. How much HP is that? That had to have been single digits.
Yeah, I bet that was like 8 or 9 HP. That was about as low as it can get.
Quokka, or not Quokka, Boatlick. Oh my goodness, I'm just.
I don't know why I ever
Solo
doubt this
killing
Nidalee.
the Kaisa.
That was a Nidalee Spear that just took the R down to half health, incidentally. Boatlick is legendary.
25 stacks on that Magi's. It is an item that every kill you get a couple stacks, and you get more damage the more stacks you have. When you die, you'll lose those. But 25 is the maximum stacks. That is absurd to have that this early in the game.
Especially at this high of a level in play, right? These are all Master, Grandmaster, even low Challenger level, not low Challenger, Challenger level players. And the fact that you're getting a 25 stack Magi's at just after 15 minutes is kind of crazy. Off screen, the Drake is going to be taken down. And again, like I mentioned earlier, I'll mention it again, this just feels like a massacre. I don't think it's possible for Ball State to lose this game.
Yeah, I mean, unless they're throwing because people bet or something, like I don't know. They would have to intentionally lose this game.
Or just make such a massive mistake. I mean, you're just waiting for a mistake at this point. If you're NEU, the set ultimate is going to go through. The rest of Ball State is here.
Get that W offset.
Charm is going to come through. That is a shutdown, but Ball State looks like they have more than enough damage to just clean this up. Although they are getting kind of low here. That is a double kill for the Jacks. G-Sun is going to trade too, but the Grand Challenge has been issued. Samira is just going to be killing everyone as well.
Why am I saying uh-oh? Everyone on Ball State can like pretty much one-shot everyone on NEU.
To be fair, as long as this Nidalee doesn't die, Ball State really does not lose too much besides a bounty. If this Nidalee dies, though, that is a lot of stacks that Nidalee loses.
We are seeing Quokka, finally, he is not among the top 5 gold leads in the game.
He's getting there, though.
The fact that our support has more gold than the top laner of the enemy team is ridiculous, though. Supports typically have by far the lowest gold. What Rakan has, that 3.9k gold, that's a normal amount of gold for a support right now.
Absolutely.
I know 3.9 to 5.7 does not seem like a lot, but for a support, that is a lot.
I main support, and that is an absurd amount of money. I'm not getting that in my games. But 31 kills to 4 is really just the story, telling such a story there. It is so impossible for NEU to come back into this. At Ball State, I said it earlier, both these teams kind of rolled the dice on their picks, and it looks like the dice have fallen very much in Ball State's favor. You can see Silk Flannel just absolutely running down. The Kindred ult will be popped. It is a 1v2, but Silk Flannel is just taking no damage whatsoever, and we'll just get the kill. We'll pick up a nice double kill as well, and we'll just keep the snowball rolling. There's just not a lot that NEU can do, and I feel bad calling it before even 18 minutes, or at 18 minutes rather, but what do you do if you're NEU here?
You type /FF in chat and you start thinking about next time you're playing Ball State, because I don't think there's any route to winning right here.
Look, I know we're supposed to be technically unbiased, but people, we're going to be honest with you here.
No,
NEU's lost.
We're not supposed to be unbiased. We're clearly going to be biased towards Ball State.
This is it's just so hard. Like, you can see there's just so much damage coming out from all the members of Ball State. Even this set is just making things so difficult.
Honestly, if you're NEU at this point, you're just try to not make your KD look worse than it already is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, Charm is going to land, but that's just an immediate re-engage from Ball State. And barely, I think Ball State ends this before 20 minutes, actually.
they could end it right now if they wanted to.
They could literally
So
just end the
many
game right
grubbies.
now. Those Void Grubs are deleting the towers. NEU just can't do anything. The Rakan ult is going to be popped, but the root comes out. Chump Slog is legendary. Chump Slog has 13 kills and 0 deaths. I mean,
Game's over.
the game's just
Game is
over right
over.
here. Ball State.
320.
Wow, you predicted how this would go, Rory, perfectly.
I wasn't expecting
Well,
a
okay,
39 kill game.
Let's look
from
at it
Ball
this way.
State.
I predicted game 1, you predicted game 2.
Rory
and
predicted all
predicted
three.
game 3.
No, Rory predicted all 3. Rory said, if there's a Callista, they're gonna be aggressive and probably win early. Second game, you said it'd probably go a little longer. It didn't go super long, but it did. Third game, you're like, yeah, one team's going to roll over the other once they figure out what's going on. And, yeah,
Look,
I mean,
let's be honest here. You know, if that Buffalo loss didn't happen, which, if we're being completely transparent, wasn't the fault of this team in particular.
Yeah,
I do believe this Ball State team could have a flawless series.
Ball State team has been performing super well over the entirety of the ESC, and yeah, the Buffalo was unfortunate, but
let's make some space here.
Yeah.
Here we go. We are going to be talking to none other than the coach of the Ball State League of Legends Red Team roster here, Cam, aka Choppa. Wow. We were expecting an explosive series, but Game 3 in particular felt like honestly peak Ball State. So I guess. What was super different about, obviously the draft changed a bit, but what was so different about Game 3 that Ball State just steamrolled?
Before I get into that, I just want to say thank you to Northeastern. You guys are really awesome for rescheduling the game.
Oh yeah.
So shout out to you guys
Yeah,
before we get into the interview. Yeah, just really honorable, respectable. So I hope we see you guys later. And yeah, that was an overall good game. But back to your question, I think. Well, we've been doing draft prep a lot this whole semester against every opponent, and I feel like across the board we understand the meta very well of what we want to prioritize, what we value as strong, and we kind of, like every draft, especially Game 3, it's like we want to make sure we're playing our style and what we're comfortable with, but also not letting the enemy just like free pick really strong stuff. And so I think in draft we were able to put them in a really difficult position of like, pick your poison. You know, it's like... and we have comfort picks that aren't necessarily, I mean, they're meta, but like not everyone can play Nidalee, not everyone can play Fiora. So it's, and Samira as well, like we haven't shown it a lot, but Brad's also able to play a lot of different AD carries. Minsu's Minsu, you know, so he has the Ocean, but it's like overall as a team, I think we do a really good job of just understanding each other and how we want to play, and then you have games like that. And everything just goes correctly.
Yeah, the chemistry is interesting. I believe we will be able to take a look at the end of game stats here, and I mean, like you said, the team chemistry, I think, really speaks for itself. It's sort of looking at this, the gold is overwhelmingly in Ball State's favor. 6K gold as a support is absolutely wild to me, and I'm sure the damage numbers are going to be very, very high as well. So we've kind of characterized Ball State's style as this very aggressive team that wants to play a strong early game, transition to a very strong mid game, taking these objectives and playing around and playing like really solid team fights. Has that always been the case? Has that sort of always been the case? Did you just like kind of walk into the ESC season knowing that this is what we want our team identity to be, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think our team definitely was really strong. I know when Blaster left, there was a lot of different questions of how our team wanted to approach playing and things like that. But I think as a team, we were able to, like, everyone kind of understood, hey, we have to kind of step up a bit. Like, everyone just, you know, just naturally steps up. And I think that's kind of the case, is just everyone stepped up to the occasion this semester. I think across the board, everyone's ready to put in the work. But yeah, it all starts with practice. It all starts with the draft prep. It all starts with just everyone being able to communicate. And I think that's the biggest thing. It's like when everyone is able to just give any amount of info. You know, it could just be as simple as like, hey, my laner's gone. You know, they might be on reset, or they might have a tempo play to like go somewhere else. It's like just that little like communication, even just that is like really huge. So I think like across the board, just having everyone be on the same page, like just overall is really nice. I think like that's kind of given us an edge as a team, and just a lot of consistency.
I have a question. So we've been seeing these creative picks, you know, the set support. As we were talking about, we saw in Scrim a Yone Senna bot lane, things like that. What's your process for allowing these players to be creative and allowing that to go through to your, you know, bracket games, these series games, things like that? How do you develop those strategies as a coach?
So I think, I mean, I'm definitely just here for the ride. I just try to give the guys a solid strategy to go off of, but like, I wouldn't be able to do that if my players weren't confident in themselves and can like just want to pick things like that, right? So like just Minsu as an example, like you're saying in scrims, like we're testing out these like crazy like non-standard picks. It's because the players are confident in themselves, and I think there goes a lot of trust. Like obviously I trust the guys a lot, but they also trust each other, you know, because like if they didn't like a certain pick and they were like, hey, like it's kind of sus, I don't want you to play that, but across the season that hasn't really been the case. I think like overall, especially when we do try things out, we make sure like, hey, like this is how we want to play it. Like there's a formulated strategy around the new things that we want to try. So it's not like we're putting it in a situation where it can't succeed, right? That's kind of the goal, is like when we practice, we want to make sure we're testing things out in an ideal situation. And that's kind of the nice thing, is a lot of our scrim opponents are like, they do push us a lot. So I think that's kind of something that's nice, is like we're able to put a lot of different thoughts and things like that and have some fun. Yeah, I think like that's the main thing too, is like I don't want my players being like, like we couldn't play that. You know, it's like, no, like I'm down to try. But it just obviously has to be a good strategy, you know? And I think that's the end of the day thing, is like, we're going to do what it takes to win. And yeah, I think like the players definitely offer a lot of flexibility. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you. I appreciate you sitting down and talking with us. And we're all looking forward to the Akron game tomorrow, very much.
Yeah, we are too. Thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you so much.
For tomorrow? What should we expect?
Robert asked, what should we expect about tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, just same old Ball State, just spicy. Yeah, I think that's the move. But thank you guys.
All right, yeah, thank you so much. Congratulations, good game.
Yeah.
Is that for you?
Thank you for joining us. You know, this was a roller coaster of a ride. We had a stomp first game. You know, Ball State, they need a little beating. We need the story. The plot has to thicken. Third game, wow. Right? That you don't see that. That's a blue moon game, let's be honest.
Yeah, that was super incredible, and as you saw from us talking with Cam, this team, their chemistry is amazing. They're willing to experiment with just about anything, and not only that, they're willing to put in the work to sort of make these little creative picks work. And I think it's really shown up in a very unique team identity for Ball State. And I'm very excited for the Akron game tomorrow. I'm very excited to see how Ball State closes out the ESC. So please tune in tomorrow. It's going to be explosive. Any final words?
You know, I would just like to thank NEU for further pushing forward the point. Do not let Silk Flannel pick Fiora.
Never.
Don't give him Fiora. Just don't.
Never, never, never.
It doesn't go well for the other team, that is.
Let us sign off.
But yeah, that's it for us.
I've been Rory, a.k.a. Artom.
I've been Aiden, a.k.a. Monic.
I've been Robert, a.k.a. Transfixed, and good night.
Good night, everyone.